Gary YouTube from Cultaholic Wrestling, and welcome to the latest thrilling installment of this tier ranking malarkey. I'm joined once again by another Gary YouTube. I'm not doing these back to back with the NXT roster, which means I'm absolutely shattered after a 2 hour and 50 minute slog with Tom. Bloody hell. Anyway, we're here with Gary YouTube. How are you doing, Gary?
I'm not too bad. I'm feeling a bit scared actually about this one, because you've pointed out that this is massive. There's a lot of roster members.
I think there was 66 on the NXT roster, and there's 81 on this AEW roster, and that's not including people like Thunder Rosa, for example, who isn't officially signed to the company but has been very prominent on AEW this year. It feels weird not to include her, but I've just included the official AEW roster as per their official website. So there's 81 to get through. Obviously, we've done the Raw, the SmackDown, and the NXT rosters, so we'll compare how many are in the best tier come the end of all of the tiers, and then whoever has the most, that means they've got the best roster for the 2020/2021 season.
God. Right, I'm ready.
Just in case you're wondering, we're sat here on December the 14th. So just in case anything we say is out of date, that's when we're doing the rosters. Hopefully nothing happens on the Dynamites rounding off the year of 2020. Sam, hit the bloody intro, Bonnie lad. Right then, so just in case you haven't been here before, we have several tiers here to put the 81 members of this roster into, ranging from the best to lovely, alright, just about bearable, and getting the bin. And Jack, we're starting with Adam Hangman Page, who has had one hell of a year, starting off with becoming the tag team champions with that there Kenny Omega bloke.
I mean, Ross, we're starting off straight away with, he's got to be in the best, hasn't he?
He's straight in the best straight away, yeah.
I don't know if there's much we can really say. He's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, the storyline with Kenny Omega and the Elite, and his sort of distancing from the Elite, getting kicked out eventually of the Elite by the Young Bucks. The matches he's had from Revolution to the finals against Kenny Omega, the match with FTR. I don't know what else you have to say, really. Shall we just move on?
I think, yeah, he's been absolutely superb. What I will say is not just his matches, but his matches have been brilliant, especially the tag ones. But his acting, his performing. Apparently, it was meant to be that he would be the one who would turn heel, but he was so good at getting sympathy from the crowd that they thought, no, he'll be the hero, he'll be the good guy, and I'm all for it.
The good examples of AEW listen to the crowd, where perhaps another company might have just done the thing they wanted to do. I don't want to throw shade, but, you know, it would have happened, wouldn't it, Jack?
I don't want to comment on that at all.
We're shills for AEW here, remember. Thank you, Tony Khan, for all your money. So next up we have Alan Angels of the Dark Order, who started off the year on fire, losing squash matches to the likes of Lance Archer and to Rey Fenix. But he had a match against Kenny Omega. I think it was the start of the lockdown, that weird little barn they had in an undisclosed location era of AEW, where he had a match against Kenny Omega, and he was very impressive. Remember that one?
I do remember that one. I don't know if it's enough to secure him a high place here, though.
No, and then after that one, he joined the Dark Order, and he won his debut match as part of the faction against Lee Johnson. He spent much of the year on Dark, so I don't know what else we can say about him, really, but there we have Alan Angels. He's good at the wrestling, not sure about his tattoo game, but he's good at the wrestling all the same.
He is good. I don't want to doubt that he's good, but are we all right putting good wrestlers in one of the lower tiers? Because I think he might have to go in one of the lower tiers, unfortunately.
Bearable? I don't think he's bin worthy. That match against Kenny Omega.
No, he's not. He's not Dr. Luther level. No spoilers, but yeah, bearable for me.
And then we're moving on to Alex Reynolds, who, what's his role?
I would compare if the Dark Order, or if those two lads were me and you, I feel like you would be John Silver and I'd be in your shadow as Alex Reynolds. I feel like...
Wow.
It's meant to be a compliment there.
I know, I'm flattered.
I feel like Reynolds has been elevated by his partnership with John Silver. So I want to say, even though he's not as hilarious and he's not the one out of the two who grabs the headlines and the memes, but I think he's got to be middle tier for me.
all right in the middle there.
What would you say?
I mean, that's the thing. Oh, God, I've grabbed Mel instead of him. Sorry,
Oh,
Mel.
God, Mel. I forgot about
Bloody
Mel.
Mel is on the tier list, everybody. She's on the official AEW roster. I know, I'm as shocked as you. But yeah, Alex Reynolds, he's always there. I couldn't name you a single match he's had this calendar year. Nothing sticks out in my mind. What does stick out, though, is the stuff on Being the Elite that I have seen and his sick combos with Johnny Hungy in the matches, the kicks and the German suplexes and all that. I think he is all right. He has a role to fulfill, and he's a specialist in recruitment after all. So we'll stick him in all right. I think sticking him a tier above, what's his name? Just Alan Angels. Sorry, it's been a long day already. A tier above Alan Angels is probably fair, would you say?
I think that's right. I don't think we can put him on the same level as Arn Angels because he's been a little bit more present and he's done a little bit more.
Anna Jay, the first lady of AEW, made her debut in a loss to Shida on Dynamite. She was then signed soon after that. She then lost the match to Abaddon, and then she was helped backstage by the Dark Order, and then she joined the Dark Order, and since then we've had the stuff with Tay Conti, sort of teasing Tay Conti potentially joining the Dark Order. They were involved, of course, in the Women's Tag Team Tournament. They beat the team of Nyla Rose and Ariane Andrew Cameron.
Oh, Cameron.
Remember that one? And then they got
I remember it. Is she on this list or not?
No, she's not on this list.
Right. Owen brings her up all the time to me because apparently in my graded when she appeared, apparently on that episode of Graded, I went very scouse. According to Owen, who's an expert in such matters, apparently I went, and bloody hell, it's Cameron. I was just so surprised that I forgot which region that I'm from, apparently.
She does have that effect on people. That's how shattering and monumental Cameron is at the wrestling. To be fair, she wasn't that bad. She only had one match. What am I speaking about? Move on, Ross. But semi-finals, the team of Tay Conti and Anna Jay got to in the tournament before getting knocked out by the eventual winners of Ivelisse and Diamante. And then since then, we've had a women's title match for Anna Jay once again against Shida, which of course she lost. But again, I think similar level to Alex Reynolds rather than Alan Angels, I'd say.
I was going to say all right tier as well because I feel like there's a lot of promise there as well. I was really impressed with her title match. Not so much what she did in the match, but she's really good at she's a really good actress. She's good at reacting to the situation and what's going on. She seemed like the underdog, and she's got that whole conflict going on with Tay Conti where she's trying to turn her heel as well. So I think all right tier is fair for Anna Jay.
Oh, yep, finished. Oh, he finished. He's finished. I thought you were still going there.
I had one more thing and then I forgot what it was, and I just wanted to try and bring it to an end there. There was another thing about Anna Jay. Oh, yes, her debut was really good because she came out and you thought it was all about her, and then Abaddon came out and just destroyed her. But Anna Jay played a part in that as well, so fair play to her.
I forgot about that one. That was a good swervington on the part of AEW. But now moving on to a couple of lads who I think have been underutilised this year in 2020, and that is TH2, the hybrid 2 of Angelico and Jack Evans. You're looking at the highlights for the year, and there was a loss to SCU on Dynamite. They had wins and losses on Dark. They haven't really stood out on Dark either. They challenged FTR for the tag team titles in October. Then we had the very recent loss to the Young Bucks, and that's about it.
Are we doing these as one?
Doing these as one. They are a tag team.
I'm torn.
Do you think one should be above the other?
No. They've pretty much done the same, haven't they? But I'm just torn which tier to put them in. For me, it's between all right and bearable.
I would suggest bearable just because of their bookings. It's not really their fault, is it? When they've had the matches, they've impressed. And their theme tune is a banger. It's a bop, I think some people might call it. But just in terms of how they've been utilised in 2020 as a whole, which of course is how we're grading these people, I forgot to mention that again at the top of the video. We're basing these off how their 2020 has been.
Yeah.
Bearable. I think they're capable of a hell of a lot more, and maybe it's just AEW just saving people, just keeping them, off the boil for a while before letting the pot boil over and water spurt everywhere. Maybe next year that'll happen for TH2, but I reckon bearable for me.
I reckon that as well. I think that it's not their fault, and obviously the problem with AEW is that they often have a lot of. They sign a lot of people who are like indie favourites wherever they're from, but someone's always got to lose to get other teams over, and that's the role they're in at the minute, so fair enough. It's not their fault, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but they're only just about bearable for me as well.
And now we're moving on to another tag team, a recent addition to the full-time roster in AEW, the acclaimed recent Cultaholic Hall of Fame members, I do believe, on the podcast, for something one of them said. Some sort of sick burn, I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But they debuted on Dark all the way back in June with a loss to the Jurassic Express. And then I've just got written down big things to come, surely, because on Dark, I know they cut the what's the word I'm looking for, Jack? What do the YouTubers do? Diss tracks.
They spit some bars.
Spit some bars in the form of diss tracks to their opponents and whatnot. I saw they were on Britt Baker's waiting room segment thing, impressing there once again. But I don't think they've done the wrestling all too much to be ranked any higher than just about bearable matches because they've just arrived on the scene.
Yeah, same. I agree with you there. But if we do this next year, I feel like they could be quite a bit higher. One of them in particular, right? It's that Max Caster. He's got something about him. That Max Caster. He's got something about him. He's got a charisma, and I'm excited to see what they do. They're in a feud with the Bucks now as well, so it's pretty high.
Was he one of the sisters of Bobby Lashley on Raw? You see that on Reddit?
It recently got revealed on Reddit or Twitter, yeah.
Unbelievable scenes. Anyway, moving on to Tay Conti, who we spoke about earlier on with her relationship with Anna Jay. Is she going to be a part of the Dark Order? Is she not? No, she wasn't, it turns out. But she had no matches in NXT at the start of the year. She was released by WWE in April. Then she rocked up in AEW as part of the Women's Tag Team Tournament, getting it to the semi-finals. I found out, by the way, in my research, the tag team of Judasaurus is a thing. Judo and Saurus. So Judo,
Luchasaurus.
the Judo half is Tay Conti, and the Saurus part is Luchasaurus, and they defeated Chris Bay and Ray Lynn, the team called Bay Cray. All the names. Cray Bay, it's all crazy stuff. Warriors of Wrestling, that was. Warrior Wrestling, Stadium Series, apparently. She needs
to join Jurassic Express.
Yeah.
Then she really does.
Judosaurus.
Her and Anna Jay can have a feud. They were former friends. Now they're part of different stables. It's got to happen.
Gang warfare like 1997 on Monday Night Raw. And then we have a loss to Nyla Rose on Dynamite. And then she's had a couple of wins on Dark. And that's just about it for Tay Conti. So I don't know if we're hampered again just by, lack of usage more than anything else. Bearable or all right? One of the two.
Bearable.
I think a step below Anna Jay is fair on that one there. And then for now. That's weird because she always looks impressive when she gets in the ring and does her judo things. But NXT haven't used her. So far, AEW haven't used her. Maybe that'll change next year. But do you reckon there's an issue there with Tay Conti, Jack, with your professional wrestling knowledge and specialist knowledge?
What, like when a talented football player gets, sold about because they're a dressing room? Do you mean, there's something going on?
I just more meant in terms of what they do inside the ring rather than being a troublemaker, rather than being a Ravel Morrison of the situation,
No, I think she's absolutely... I think she's fine. I guess they just haven't found a space for her yet, which is odd because the women's division seems quite limited at the minute, so maybe she's one that could go a bit higher in future.
Maybe she should join the NWA women's roster, and then she might get somewhere in AEW.
Yeah.
Now we're moving on to someone who I can't stand every single time I see him. It's Austin Gunn. When he's screaming on the sidelines on Dynamite. To be honest with you, one of my New Year's resolutions is to watch more AEW Dark because I'm a criminal in terms of not giving that thing as much attention as I should do because everyone seems to have a right old jolly laugh on there, especially Taz and Excalibur. But on AEW Dark, maybe Austin Gunn is Mr. AEW Dark because he's been involved in 14 matches on Dark this year and he has won all 14.
Wow. I imagine that it's really hard if you're having a day being an extra in the crowd at Dynamite and you're a bit tired, a bit hungover, it's just not your day, and you're next to Austin Gunn.
Do you get the same feeling when you see him there, just screaming at the top of his lungs the entire time?
I feel like if he wasn't Billy Gunn's son and he was just some random developmental worker, someone would have had a word with him and been like, stop making it all about you. But either he's got away with it because he's Billy Gunn's son, or he just doesn't care and he's just going for it anyway.
I hope it's the latter, just for his cause. But he has had one match on Dynamite this year. He made his debut in November, teaming with his dad and Cody Rhodes to defeat...
He got the pinfall.
He did, aye. He defeated 10, Silver and Cabana of the Dark Order. Where do we go for Austin Gunn here? Because obviously a lot of his stuff has been on Dark. I haven't seen it. I presume it was good, just because he's Austin Gunn.
just about bearable, because he's not a total detriment to the show when he's involved. I feel like that sounds like such a backhanded compliment. He's all right. I think that I was impressed with him in that match he had on Dynamite. I thought he was good. Very baby face. Yeah. Such a baby face.
But you could also see him being a proper annoying heel as well. Just the way.
Yes.
Proper frat boy. Is that the right phrase? You know what I mean?
I think I get frat boy vibes from him, certainly. I think bearable for me, for Austin.
That's fair. And then we're moving on to Hikaru Shida, who will be a controversial placing in this year tier ranking because, she is AEW Women's World Champion. She's been that for a while now. But I find myself not caring at all during her matches. Do you find something similar happening?
You know what? I thought that I was going to be the one undervaluing her here, and you were going to be the one saying, no, she's not that bad. But
she's not bad. She's a fantastic wrestler. I enjoy her matches, but I just don't find myself getting invested at all.
No, I agree. Maybe part of it is the fact that people like Riho can't wrestle in AEW at the minute with the travel restrictions, maybe, and she's got not that many fresh opponents to have matches with. She's had loads of matches with Nyla Rose, for example, but something about her that I just also can't care about. And it's not the fact that she's English as her second language and she's quite limited in her promos.
It's nothing to do with that.
It's not that. Right, exactly. And they keep Shida's promos quite simple and she delivers them fine. It's more just the booking, I think, again. The booking hasn't... right now, as we record this, is the first Hikaru Shida storyline in a while that I've been quite invested in with Abaddon, because she's quite scared of Abaddon, and it's quite interesting to see where that might go. But, yeah, for the most part, I've not been that invested in her title reign. And she does one thing in every match that I find so irritating, Ross. She'll do an Irish whip and then throw a drop kick, and it's the spot where you know where the opponent hooks themselves in the ropes, and then you crash and burn on the drop, like you miss the drop kick and just land on the canvas. But she throws the drop kick before they've even reached the ropes, so she throws them, drop kick back. Well, of course you've missed it. You're not waiting for them to come back.
You've just ruined every single Shida match for me from here on out, because I'd never noticed that before, but I'm going to say it every single time, aren't I? You bastard. You've ruined everyone's experience of Shida going forward from here on out. But looking at highlights for this year, obviously she defeated Nyla Rose in a no disqualification match to win her title ages ago. Our last match this year was against Anna Jay, that title defence that we mentioned earlier. That was in November. The Thunder Rosa stuff, good matches. Good matches all around, yeah. And now the stuff with Abaddon. I did like the sort of... I didn't like the way she was like, oh, Abaddon, you're just a woman who dresses up like a zombie. I don't like that because it's wrestling. Imagine if back in 1990 people were saying that about The Undertaker. You're just a man who dresses up like a dead man. I don't like that part, but I like the way she's sort of like convincing herself that Abaddon isn't really a dead lady. I just wish they went about it a different way. Yeah,
she deep down she knows that Abaddon's really a zombie. She knows that.
Of course she does.
Yeah.
They are real in the wrestling. But Shida... it's all right or it's lovely, lovely, lovely for me. It's one of the two. Maybe it's lovely, lovely, lovely because she's a step above Anna Jay and a step above Reynolds, surely.
Yes, but not at the best though. Not at the best.
No,
and which is where she should. Which as the champion of the women's division, that's where she should be, but she's not quite there for me.
Or maybe it is just symptomatic of AEW's women's division as a whole and how it's been booked the entire year round, because it needs redoing, doesn't it? Starting again from the bottom, working the way back.
Baby.
From being revealed as the Exalted One in March to Double or Nothing, where despite losing to Jon Moxley, he came out looking like a true main event star, to the squash match that shocked the world against Cody, followed up by that brutal dog collar match, Jack and I decided that lovely, lovely, lovely is where Mr. Brodie Lee should be placed on this tier list for what he did inside of the wrestling ring in 2020. For both of us, the feeling was that towards the autumn especially, he was really getting going in his new role, and while we had seen some greatness in the ring last year, there was so much more to come in 2021. We both felt that as the Mr. Brodie Lee character continued to evolve as the year went on, it was Jon Huber finally arriving to the level we knew he was capable of fulfilling for so long. With Brodie Lee's passing in mind, and after hearing the catalogue of stories highlighting what a good man he was, and coming out of what many, including I, consider to be the greatest tribute show in pro wrestling history, it's become very clear indeed that the true value of Brodie's life is what he meant to people outside of the wrestling ring. whether they be his fellow wrestlers or fans, or most importantly, his family at home, as a husband, a father, a friend, a mentor, a Huber boy, the right stuff, a roughneck, a follower, a bludgeoner, or an exalted one. While you will see Jon Huber in lovely, lovely, lovely for the rest of this video for what he did in the ring during 2020, ignore that, will you? Because it's what he did outside of the ring that meant so much more to everyone who crossed paths with him, and means that he's above and beyond the best tier in any walk of life. From all of us here at Cultaholic, rest in power, Big Rig.
Arn Anderson, where are we going for Arn?
Oh, we did managers as well.
Oh, yes.
Arn, for me, is either alright or lovely, lovely, lovely. Maybe lovely, lovely, lovely. I think he's done a good job.
That's the thing as well. In this tier rank, before people start burning their pitchforks or whatever and throwing them in our direction, context is key. I know I can see Arn Anderson above, Alex Reynolds and Anna Jay in this table. Context is key. Remember that much.
It is just 2020. We're not saying that Arn's second tier throughout his whole career. I really want to know what Arn whispers to Cody when they make their entrance, when he's behind the clipboard, because I reckon he tries to pop him. He tries to make him chuckle away, and Cody never does. So I really want to know what they say to each other.
I'll suck your cock, Cody.
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
Made him sound like Paul Bear all of a sudden. But I tell you what, I reckon Arn is fully deserving of lovely, 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 just for that promo he had off. The promo off he had with Jake the Snake Roberts. That made me want to see Jake the Snake versus Arn Anderson in 2020.
He out-promoed Jake.
Unbelievable scenes. One
of the best promos ever, and Arn out-promoed him. Fantastic.
Brandon Cutler has had one match on Dynamite, which was the TNT title #1 contendership Battle Royal back in May. Apart from that, he's had the big storyline with Peter Avalon on Dark, the race to the bottom. Then they became the Initiative, didn't they? A tag team for a little bit. Then they split up again. Then they feuded. They had the matches where one of them was looking for their first win in AEW, but they had a count out and then a double DQ. And then eventually Peter Avalon won, which means that beyond any shadow of any doubt, Brandon Cutler is the worst wrestler in all of AEW. And that's before we consider him crapping on Jim Ross on Twitter not too long ago. You see that one?
I quite like that, though, to be fair. That was quite funny. Because imagine you've got a commentator who then... I talked about this with Tom on the news today at the time of recording. And I don't know if I should say this. I compared JR to Matthew on the Cultaholic podcast because Matthew just slags off what we do.
But he's
and
still...
JR...
Sorry, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I was just speaking this with Andrew next door. I was like, why does Matthew just crap on what we do and then he turns up on our podcast hosting it? Like, why are you here, Matthew?
Well, that's what JR does. He turns up on commentary, then he goes on his podcast and just slags off the product. So I guess Matthew's a bit braver because he does it to our faces on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I quite like that from Brandon. Don't know if it's good enough for him to escape bottom tier, though. It's one of the bottom two, and I don't know which one.
Yeah, but since becoming undoubtedly the worst wrestler in all of AEW by losing to Peter Avalon, Brandon Cutler has won 8 straight matches on Dark.
Oh.
So then, it's either bin or it's bearable. I don't think he's bin. He's all right.
No, he's a good wrestler, isn't he? Yeah.
We'll go bearable. But then again, he's only had one match on Dynamite this year, so who knows?
It was bearable. It was a bearable performance.
Do you watch Dark every week?
Not every week, no. I should, but there's just so much wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When we go home, I try to get away from wrestling, mate. I don't know about you.
Exactly, yeah. Although I did find myself watching Triple Mania the other night.
I've not seen that yet.
What a wacky show that was. Spider-Man was there.
I've seen the 2 lads going through the tables.
The 2 old fellas.
What's the crap with Wolfpack Sting? Is it Chessman?
Oh, Chessman, yeah. Chessman and...
Is that Wolfpack Sting, fella?
I don't know if he's Wolfpack Sting.
He's got the similar face.
He looks like him. Oh yeah. He looks, and he hit poor Hugo Savinovich with a guitar for no reason.
Like Hugo, do you?
Hugo bladed.
Anyway, from Hugo Savinovich to a similar-sized unit in Brian Cage, who debuted at Double or Nothing back in May. Obviously, the surprise final entrant in the Casino Ladder match. He did well in that one, didn't he? He won the bloody thing. He was then given the FTW Championship by Taz. Why? We still aren't quite sure, as we're sat here in December. What do you reckon of the FTW Championship so far?
I can take or leave it. But it's starting to get mentioned, isn't it? Taz wants to legitimise it. Cody doesn't.
Give it the respect.
Yeah, give it the respect it deserves, absolutely. But for me, I care more about Team Taz and everything else they do than I do that belt.
I like the concept. It just needs to be, solidified more as an actual thing rather than just, I've got this belt and you can't really win it off me, but then you can in certain... Yeah. Then we have the rivalry, obviously, with Jon Moxley. With Taz throwing in the towel. Keeping Brian Cage strong at Fight for the Fallen. Then we had impressive moments in Dark. I remember a match he had with Matt Sydal, I think it was, and Matt jumping off the middle rope. And then Brian Cage catching him, his head there in a suplex, and then they went and did a suplex. It was amazing. Do you remember that one?
I do. I can't imagine what it's like being that strong.
Yeah.
But he's agile too.
He's got everything, hasn't he? The total package, Brian Cage. Eat that one, Lex Luger. Then he, obviously, the stuff for Will Hobbs towards the end of the year. He had a match for the FTW title against Big Willie, which he won, obviously. And then Powerhouse Hobbs joined Team Taz. So there's Brian Cage's first few months in AEW. I want to see more. I'm obviously impressed with what he does in the ring, but with him just stood there on the periphery of Team Taz and just going like, who better at the end? I want to see more.
Yeah, I do as well. So are you thinking all right or lovely, lovely, lovely?
I reckon all right at this stage because I reckon there's a bit more to come from Brian Cage. I don't know if he's a good promo. I assume he can speak more than just who better every single time.
Go on then. Yeah, all right.
Stick him in.
I was going to say lovely, 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 but you've made a good case there.
Why would you stick him in lovely, lovely, lovely? Let's hear the opposite side.
Just whenever he has a match, I think, well, something crazy is going to happen because he's capable of outrageous things. But it doesn't always happen. But I get that feeling every time he's about to have a match.
We'll leave him in all right. Is he? Oh no, I've put him on the same level as Alex Reynolds. I cannot do that. He's in lovely, lovely, lovely. No offense to Alex Reynolds.
Do we move Reynolds down?
We've got to do it, haven't we? Anna Jay down as well.
No.
She's had a standout match, to be fair. I don't think Alex Reynolds has. Right, we've sorted that one out. You see, this is how it works in the tier ranking thing. It changes as we go along. That's the beauty of the entire thing. If you stop watching at any point, you're missing out. You've got to watch all 7 hours of this video. Serena Deeb, Jack.
Oh, man. She's lovely, lovely, lovely. Virgin on top tier for me.
Yes. And it's weird. I thought she was a member of the NWA women's roster full time. I didn't realise that AEW officially signed her a few days after her debut. But that's what happened.
But she's the champion still.
But she was the champion of the NWA after winning the title from Thunder Rosa back in September, I think it was, at United Wrestling Network's premiere live event. Primetime live event, or something like that. Yeah.
It was an NWA thing, yeah.
She had lots of good matches, of course, against Thunder Rosa especially. Allysin Kay as well. The match against Thunder Rosa on Dynamite was maybe the best AEW women's match on Dynamite this year.
The one against Allysin Kay, did you say?
Thunder Rosa on Dynamite.
Sorry, Allysin Kay was at the pay-per-view, wasn't she? Yeah. The Thunder Rosa one was really, really good. I'd agree with that, yeah.
The last match she had was on November the 18th, and there we have it. She's in lovely, lovely, lovely. I think that's fair enough there. Then we have FTR, who of course started this year in WWE. Their final televised match in WWE was all the way back on January the 31st, where they had a fatal 4-way tag where the winners went to Super Showdown. Of course, they didn't win that. Their final appearance in WWE was in February, where they helped attack Intercontinental Champion Braun Strowman. I can't remember that happening at all. Then, of course, we have the news reports coming out, which got proven to be true, I think, of the awful gimmick idea Vince McMahon had them dressing up in that silly costume with glow sticks and stuff. What that was about, I've got no idea. Then we had the cease and desist. So they've left WWE now. They had the cease and desist from the revolt of Caleb Conley and Zayn Riley about their name, because apparently, well, initially, of course, it was Fear the Revolt.
Yeah.
And it got changed. Then we had the AEW debut in May, saving the Young Bucks from the Butcher and the Blade. They then debuted in AEW in June by defeating the Butcher and the Blade. Then we had interactions with the Young Bucks, sort of helping them but not helping them, being a bit snide towards the Bucks, hinting at the match that would eventually happen. The stuff with Hangman Page, I especially like, sort of getting into Hangman's head and splitting up Kenny Omega and Hangman from within. After initially debuting, of course, they then signed their contracts a couple of months later into their debut run. They then attacked the Rock and Roll Express. That was another highlight for me. I've written down there. Defeated Hangman and Omega at All Out. Then they've won a few tag team matches, and then lost the tag team titles to the Bucks at Full Gear in one hell of a match. Whew, that's a busy year. Where are we going for these two?
I'm really torn between top tier and second tier because I feel like they shouldn't have lost the belts. I don't know.
I thought they were always going to with the. I don't know if this is just me being too cynical, but the Young Bucks being in the position they are backstage, I reckon they put that silly stipulation on it so people might, like me and you, were going to go, oh well, they were never going to lose that match with that stipulation on it.
I don't know. I don't know which one because they're always great. They're always really good in the ring. Like you expect that from them, but have they been utilised as well as they could have been? Also, there was that weird attempt at a storyline which they quickly switched off, which was the Young Bucks starting to turn heel and then not, and that affected the feud with FTR.
Yeah,
I don't know if they've been quite as well booked as they could have been.
I'll go with that. Lovely all the same, because they did have one of the matches of the year, of course. And I like the relationship they have with Tully, and I like the way they split. I like the way they got in Hangman's head as well. That was another highlight as well.
That's true. Maybe they should.
I think they're fine. Yeah, I think that thing with the Bucks really did ruin their feud. Well, not ruin it, but hamper it a little bit. Then moving on to someone who is still officially a part of the AEW roster, Emi Sakura. No matches in AEW this year, but that largely because of the pandemic. Instead, she's been appearing for, and you're going to have to pardon my enunciation here potentially, Jack, but Gato Move Pro Wrestling? Is that how it's pronounced?
I've heard of Gato Move. They're the ones who have matches in on a gym mat through a window. It's weird.
A gym mat through a window?
The ring, there's no ring, it's just a gym mat, and then there's also a window above it which they sometimes run around the back of and jump through. Bizarre.
Like an 80s action flick or something like that.
Whenever I'm preparing wrestlers of the window's very low down, like it looks crap deliberately. So whenever I'm doing wrestlers of the week, I have a little check to see if there's any good matches that I've missed that week. So I'll go on Cage Match or whatever and type in search by best ranked matches, and people love it. I have to ignore all those silly Gato Move matches because they're always ranked so highly, and then I'll find it and watch it, and I'm like, bollocks, what? I don't get it at all. So it's very weird.
I'll leave this one up to you because that's where all of her wrestling just about this year has happened, in Gato Move Pro Wrestling. So is it bin or is it bearable?
Well, I don't know what to do because she's good, but it was in 2019 that I enjoyed her, and to be honest, I've not seen any of her Gato Move matches. I've seen some of Lulu Pencil's matches in Gato Move. Yes, there's a wrestler called Lulu Pencil. I don't know what to do with Emi Sakura. Bearable. Go on, bearable.
I'll put her in the bin for you. I know you want to say it. I know you want to say it, but you don't want to say it. Yeah, it's the pandemic's fault in it. And then moving on to Mel.
Stupid Gato Move. Oh, Mel can get in the bin. Sorry, Mel.
Mel has had a match on Dynamite this year. Bash at the Beach. Kris Statlander and Shida defeat the team of Brandi Rhodes and Mel. Yes, the Nightmare Collective was still a thing in 2020. No. Since then, she's had 3 matches on Dark, and also she's appeared for Cape Championship Wrestling.
Oh, fair enough.
But Mel can go in the bin.
I feel worse for Mel than maybe any other member of the AW roster.
Why is that?
Because she got brought in as part of the Nightmare Collective, and then the Nightmare Collective got rightly scrapped, and Mel's never been given anything else, really.
Yeah, 3 matches on Dark, and that's your lot for this year. And it's weird that maybe they're just waiting for her hair to grow back, because of course the Nightmare Collective shaved it off.
No, I think she should keep that look. She look tough and cool, but the Nightmare Collective, man. Oh dear me.
Can't wait to put Brandi in the best here, because that's where Brandi has to go. She's the best. Chris Jericho.
Oh, he's got to be top tier, hasn't he?
He has got to be top tier.
Yeah, I've enjoyed pretty much everything he's done in AEW, and I've disliked pretty much everything he's done outside of AEW in 2020.
Of course, he started this year as AEW World Champion. He dropped the title to Jon Moxley after trying to get Jon Moxley into the Inner Circle with the car and all that malarkey. The car that Jon Moxley nicked because he's a cheeky scamp. Was it the fastest car in the world or something they used to say back in the day?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Inner Circle versus the Elite, which was building initially towards the Blood and Guts match before that was postponed and never heard from again. Instead, we got the Stadium Stampede match, which brought Matt Hardy in, and of course the meme machine that is Chris Jericho rolled on with the release the hands thing in his hot tub, where he wore leather pants in his hot tub for reasons. On AEW commentary, of course, he was amazing every single time. Even if for me, I'm just asking from a pure storyline perspective, Jack the Jobber, within the realms of kayfabe, why did Chris Jericho keep getting invited back to commentary?
I can't explain it in kayfabe terms.
It's just because he's good, isn't it? Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Then we had the stuff with Orange Cassidy, of course, the however long. How many? He keeps saying. How long did it last for, the feud? He kept saying the number. I can't remember what it was in terms of months and weeks and whatever.
Oh, did he? I don't actually know.
A few months, a good few months of Orange Cassidy feud, culminating with the Mimosa Mayhem match. Even getting the lazy Orange Cassidy, of course, to orchestrate a Home Alone-esque prank with the orange juice from the rafters.
Oh, yes.
How did Orange Cassidy pull that one off? Then, of course, we had the storyline with MJF joining the Inner Circle, the Dinner de Debonair, whatever the hell that thing was. I thought it was fantastic. Do you think it was fantastic?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the song.
And then the trip
MJF did better than Jericho, though.
Yeah, he did. He showed him up completely. Yeah. But he still gave it his all, looking like a tomato, so he did Chris Jericho. And then, of course, we had the stuff in Vegas. And then we find ourselves today with the MJF, with the Inner Circle, potentially splitting up, but not splitting up. And then we'll see where it goes from here. But Jericho, firmly in the best. Christopher Daniels.
Oh. For me, straight away when you said that, I was just going to say all right, because he's not had that much of a spotlight on him this year, from what I can remember. But I feel bad putting him there. I'm still going to say he should go in all right, but I think he's great. He's one of my favorites. Christopher Daniels has been great for years and years. And isn't he like 50 now?
Yeah, he's in his 50s. I'm sure he's the same age as Jericho. Timeless.
He could be the best worker, just in ring stuff, of his age in the world. He must be.
I'm not going to argue that point. I think it's a sound point you've put forward there, Jack. But yeah, started the year as a tag team champion, remember?
Yes.
Before losing him to Hangman and to Kenneth Omega. Dark Order tried to recruit him in large parts of the spring. Didn't quite happen. SCU had matches against FTR. He was in the Battle Royal at All Out. I think... we've known since the start of AEW he's been a very prominent figure backstage. I don't know if it's sort of a talent relations role he has for AEW, but numerous times we've seen him this year in Dynamite with the headset on backstage in the dusty position. I think that's what it's called. It's not the gorilla position there, is it? It's the dusty, the dusty position. So Christopher Daniels, I think all right is fair. I can't name you a good match he had this year, but no doubt there is some.
Just the one where they lost the tag belts was really good on the cruise ship.
On the cruise ship,
that was a good one.
That can get all right.
Yeah, apart from that, he's not had too much to do. I hope they use him more still, because he's always good when he does stuff.
Chuck Taylor and Trent, best friends. Fyter Fest Night 1. They lost to Hangman Page and Kenny Omega for the titles. Then, of course, they became a bit of a second fiddle in the whole Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy stuff. Then business had started to pick up, once again, as they feuded with Santana and Ortiz, who of course started picking on Trent's mom's car and all that stuff. Then they had the 5-star parking lot brawl fight thing, according to Dave Meltzer. I thought it was very good as well. Trent, just have to mention this, became the inaugural BTE champion. Gator Golf is how he won that title. But then he lost the title to John Silver in a bottle flipping contest. But it's been a very good year for best friends. Maybe not as good as Orange Cassidy, but we'll get on to him later on. But they'll still be lovely. They're always entertaining when they come on. Or is that a bit too high?
I think so. No, I don't think that's too high. I think stick them in lovely, yeah. Always entertaining. And the inclusion of Trent's mum as well was fantastic. So I've got to agree.
Good T-shirt as well with her on there. Is she sticking her finger up or she got a thumbs up?
I can't remember which one, but she seems like a lovely woman.
Yeah, Sue, the wholesome Sue. So yeah, we've got them on the same level as FTR there, but I think it's fair, but for different reasons.
Yes.
It's a
I think so.
variety show, professional wrestling. Let's not forget about that, because I can see the comments going mad right now. Next up, we're going on to Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes.
I think he's got to be top, surely.
So do I.
Yeah.
He's the tweener of AEW. He tells us that much by coming out the middle rather than the heel tunnel or the face tunnel.
Oh, I've never noticed this. Of course he does.
The Kenny Omega is where Satya.
No, I know there's a heel and face tunnel. Never even thought that Cody comes out the middle.
Oh, he's a tweener. He doesn't care if he likes you or not. He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's the guy. But Kenny Omega, the AEW before West Satya on December the 14th, he came out the heel tunnel for the first time. Ooh. New Year's Day. Darby Allin and Cody had one of their matches they had this year. That was a good way to start the year. Then, of course, we had the MJF feud with the lashes to the back and the stipulations. Then the cage match against Wardlow with
that match was so good.
The crazy flipsy whipsy doozy off the top of the cage. Then he lost it. Yeah, the moonsault. Then he had the defeat to MJF at Revolution, where, of course, he debuted that hickey on his neck. I hope Americans use that phrase as well. Do they have a different word for that?
Love bite.
Hickey, they're called up here in Newcastle upon Tyne.
Maybe they say hickey as well, because in Greece, do you remember Kaniki gives a hickey to Rizzo and she says a hickey from Kaniki?
I'm not a fan of Greece, mate.
No, fair enough, right? Well,
do you like Greece?
Yeah, I like Greece 1, not Greece 2. No time for Greece 2.
I've heard some bad things about Greece 2.
Greece 2 is atrocious.
New TNT champion, of course. Cody was the first one. He won that there tournament against Lance Archer in the finals. Defends it all the way through in a John Cena United States Open Challenge Open Challenge kind of thing, until eventually we had that squash match against Brodie Lee. He goes away for a little bit, comes back with his dark hair, looking like he now resides in Lazy Town, where he went on to defeat Brodie Lee in that dog collar match. Then, of course, we had the wars against Team Taz and Powerhouse Hobbs, turning on Cody like he was becoming AEW's version of Sting in WCW. Then we have the stuff with Shaq, which is we're sat here now. We've just had the last Dynamite we saw. We had Brandi chucking the water on Shaq, so it looks like Shaq is not being used to have a wrestling match against Cody, but he's in fact being used to build up Brandi versus Jade.
Oh, hang on. Do you not think Shaq's still going to do something?
Cody's moved on. Cody's now with Sting, isn't he? He's forgetting about Shaq.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Shaq.
So yeah, that's where we find ourselves now. And then the stuff with Sting, with a really sort of interesting promo, because we all know that Sting was Cody's favourite wrestler growing up. But now Sting has come back and he says, Cody, I don't give a toss about you, pal. He's roughing him up like a big brother would. And maybe we're going to have a match between Sting and Cody. Who knows where we're going there. But Cody in the best, and that's all of his highlights there.
Imagine Cody and Sting have a half-hour match, and right at the end, Shaq runs out to ruin it. I would absolutely love it.
I mean, I would love
Shaq
a sort of intergender handicap match where on one side you've got Jade and you've got Shaq and you've got Sting. The dream team taking on Brandi and Cody. And of course, Brandi and Cody would have to win. Moving on to Abaddon, who debuted after that whole, we built up Anna Jay, she's the star of the show and all that malarkey. But no, here comes Abaddon to decimate her after that match with Shida, it was, wasn't it? Have I got that right still?
I thought Abaddon had the match with Anna Jay.
Was it with that? I just got mixed up.
I think Anna Jay came out and did all the video package and all that. She was a magician at the time. Now she's just a Dark Order member. But Abaddon was her opponent and battered her. It was good.
And I'd never seen Abaddon before this debut, and I was shook with the makeup that's going on there. It's top tier makeup if I've ever seen top tier makeup in my life. Since then we've got a few dark outings. She's won all 7 of her dark matches on AEW Dark, and now we've got the stuff with Shida. So it's very much of like there's definitely more to come. We've done some stuff this year. Bearable or alright, that sort of region?
I think alright, because it's going somewhere, the Shida thing, and by the time this goes out, maybe it's all gone wrong and maybe she's been rubbish. But for now, I think alright is the right place for her. Awesome Kong is still on the AEW roster. She's had one match this year in AEW where she defeated Skylar Moore on New Year's Day. That was on Dark. Well, the Dark that was taped, I presume, on New Year's Day. But she's still a part of the roster, so we're here speaking about her. I don't know what to do with her, though. I don't know where to put her.
Bin. Gotta be on it.
Oh, poor Awesome Kong.
Not her fault. It's just
No.
She's a victim of the circumstances, I guess.
Yeah,
With,
she's done nothing.
The pandemic and all that stuff.
And I think, didn't Glow get cancelled as well?
Glow got because I think that's why she went away initially, but then it got cancelled, didn't it? Because of the pandemic.
Why did it get cancelled? Oh, because of the pandemic, right?
I think it was because of the pandemic. I like Glow.
Yeah, I was going to say,
she's good in Glow.
I hope it didn't just get cancelled just cause. Yeah.
Maybe someone will know more than that. I think it was because of the COVID, though. Who knows, though?
Right.
Hope it comes back for season 3. Is it season 3? It is season 3.
It'll be on. The next one will be 4.
Next one will be 4. Colt Cabana, who made a shocking surprise debut at Revolution. He had a few New Japan outlets at the start of the year. Were they good?
I think they were just lower card affairs.
Lower card silliness. That's what Colt Cabana does best. Stuff with the Dark Order then started after his sort of initial run in AEW. Had a bit of a losing streak. Brodie Lee would sort of come to the ring and help him backstage and say, there, pal, come and join my gang of merry men. He would do officially later on in the year, and then he would sort of lose in the world title tournament in the first round to Adam Hangman Page. And that's about it for Colt Cabana. He's just a member of the Dark Order now. I guess he does some more things on Being the Elite. Back when I watched Being the Elite every single week, he was doing stuff with Kenny Omega where they would sort of butt into the backstage segments, that sort of stuff. That shows you how long I've not been watching Being the Elite every single time. So Colt Cabana, bearable? All right?
Yeah, bearable, I think. Bearable. Because his story was okay at the time, but I think since then other Dark Order stories have eclipsed that, and the Hangman one will also eclipse that probably.
Johnny Hungy and all that malarkey. But I tell you what, that turnbuckle movie does to finish his matches, and then the Superman pin. I've got to concede it. I'd never seen that before he started doing it in AEW. Blown away I was.
That is good, and when he tags with Grado, it works really well. They're a very natural tag team. Them get Grado into AEW.
That's what everyone's looking for, isn't it? Does he still wrestle? I never see him doing the wrestling anymore.
There's not been much wrestling this year, though. I've seen him doing Flight Simulator on Twitch, which was really funny because he
does the radio in Scotland, doesn't he?
He's everywhere. He does so much stuff. Grado, imagine being so charismatic you can just do whatever you want.
I know. Straight to hell, Grado. Dwell him here. I'm putting it out there. People tweet him, harass him on Twitter. That's how we get places by harassing him.
He could be your best straight to hell ever if he agreed.
I know. People used to say I look like him, which I guess that do, being fat and having brown hair. He's more of an athlete than me, obviously. But Darby Allin, let's move on quickly. The feud with Sammy Guevara for large portions of the start of the year. Darby won that match at Revolution, of course. The semi-final loss to Cody with... How did it go again? There was a weird finish with that one, wasn't there, with the stuff that happened?
Is that when Darby went for the coffin drop and Cody just rolled him up?
I think so. I think that was the finish of that match, the semi-finals of the TNT tournament.
Or was it when Arn went, watch out, and Cody got his knees up? One of the two.
Well, something weird happened, I remember.
He didn't shout like that.
Watch out!
Be careful.
Casino ladder match at Double or Nothing. Some shenanigans happened there. Gnarly stuff. He then teamed with Jon Moxley, and then because of that, he was handed a shot at the title on Dynamite, which of course he lost. Then he won great match as well. Then he won the TNT title at Full Gear from Cody. Then of course we've gone into the battles with Team Taz, and now potentially a little bit with the Stinger being his biological father on AEW. And then, of course, we've got to mention the promo packages. Only he could come up with them, and thank goodness AEW allow these people to be who they are a bit more than WWE might do, because nobody in WWE is writing that. It's coming straight from the deranged mind of Darby Allin, getting the likes of Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk? Or Hawks? Tony Hawks. Pro skater. Hawk.
I think it's Hawk, but then because the game's it's his game, so it's Tony Hawk's pro. Yeah.
That's where I'm getting mixed up. I know my skateboarding. And Steve-O, of course. Getting Steve-O involved in AEW stuff. So Darby Allin, best. Gotta be.
Yeah, best for me as well. Yeah, best. I don't know what else to say. Very unique. One of the most unique wrestlers around today.
Charismatic enigma, some might say.
Yes. Yeah.
Dustin Rhodes. Lost to Jake Hager at Revolution. That was this year when Dustin...
after he kissed his wife.
Dustin assaulted Jake Hager's wife. Just kissed her when she didn't want to kiss. Assaulted her. Then he was announced...
But he's a baby face, so it's fine.
Funny though, isn't it? Because Jake Hager's a dick or something. Then it was announced that it was the first round of the TNT title tournament where Dustin put the stipulation on the match himself, where if he lost to Kip Sabian, he would retire.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't lose, so he didn't retire. Then we had the match with Shawn Spears at Double or Nothing, where we had some silly bollocks where Dustin somehow got Shawn Spears' boxers out. And having left WWE to do some more serious stuff, I presume Shawn Spears had Tully Blanchard's head on his willy.
Yeah.
Then the Natural Nightmares...
We'll get to Shawn.
We'll get to Shawn later on. Natural Nightmares started happening, and I don't care about the Natural Nightmares at all. But of course, they did have the bunkhouse match against the Butcher and the Blade, which was a highlight. It was a good match. And then after Brodie Lee squashed his brother and did some awful things, Dustin challenged Brodie for the TNT title to avenge. But he failed.
Yeah. But Dustin fails in entertaining fashion, though.
Yeah, he always does that.
Yeah.
Want to bank on a failure? That's Dustin. That's awful for me. Defying the odds after 75 years in the professional wrestling business. He's a fantastic advert for DDP Yoga. If anything, just again, much like Christopher Daniels, defies the odds despite being the age that he is. Looks as good as he ever has done. Maybe better than he ever has done. Did you learn this week, by the way, as we're sat here on December the 14th, that Dustin Rhodes' finisher in WCW when he was the Natural was a running bulldog? Because lots of people had told me that.
Right, no, I didn't know that, so I found it very weird when I'm guessing it's because he won that match with it.
Yeah, and I'd said,
really?
I'm surprised people didn't tweet you after the podcast, because that's when I got a few.
Right, maybe I did. I might just not have seen them. Well, he can't be using the shattered dream. I know that he kicks the turnbuckle up into them, but if I'm the ref there, I've got to be asking questions.
He has the final... was it the final cut when he got the twist and suplex thingy?
Oh, I thought that was the curtain call.
The curtain call? I forget what any of these moves are
called.
The
final cut. Some sort of Hollywood pun, because he was Goldust, yeah.
So Dustin Rhodes, it's better than all right, is it? Or is it on a similar level to Daniels? He's done more than Christopher Daniels this year, hasn't he?
He has, but... Oh...
We'll go all right. We'll go all right.
Yeah, last year would have been his lovely year.
Yeah.
But this year, it's all right. But whenever he turns up, I'm never like, oh no, it's Dustin. I'm always like, oh hey, go on.
I like Dustin.
Trying to save somebody and failing.
It's QT Marshall weighing him down, isn't it? But more on him a bit later on.
QT.
Eddie Kingston debuted in AEW by answering the open challenge to Cody Rhodes. Signed a proper contract with AEW a short time after. Then we had the stuff with his family and his best friend Penta and the Butcher and the Blade and Rey Fenix, but he doesn't care about Rey Fenix, does he? Then we had the Battle Royal at All Out, where he wasn't officially eliminated or whatever that story was, where he went under the bottom rope and he moaned about that for a while. Then we had the build to Jon Moxley, both the matches on Dynamite and at Full Gear. The match at Full Gear was gnarly as out with the alcohol getting poured into the open wounds and stuff like that. He turned on Phoenix then afterwards, kicking him out. The family, whatever their official... What is their official name? Is it the family?
I think it was just the family, yeah.
And now he's in a feud with Lance Archer. It's one of the top two tiers, isn't it? Just because of the promos alone.
Yes. I don't know which of the top two, though, because... He's the best promo in wrestling for me, but some of the stuff hasn't landed quite as well as some of the other stuff. So like the Phoenix and Penta stuff, I feel like that needed more time to develop. It just seemed to happen very fast. But he's so good at promos and at building a match and the feud with Moxley and everything. I feel like he deserves to be in the best tier.
Woof.
More.
Should we go best? We'll put them in the best and we'll watch the comments melt.
I don't think anyone will... I think people will be alright with that, you know.
Fair enough. Big Swole, we're moving on to now, whose highlight of the year has to be that feud with Britt Baker, where she threw Britt in a bin. And then...
Yes.
I don't know why I said that like that. Very radio presenter there. Threw Britt in a bin. And then we had the tooth and nail match in the dentist surgery where Britt had her leg numbed. And I said her numb-legged. Her leg numbed. Apart from that, there was the 3-on-1 handicap match with Penelope and Reba, where she beat those three, with Britt Baker as well, obviously. We had a title match against Shida. I think that was on Dynamite again. And then in the tag team tournament, she tagged with Little Swole.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Lil Swole.
Lil Swole.
Is she in this list?
Not an official member of the roster, no.
Thank God, because I know nothing about Lil Swole.
But it's been a fairly decent year for Big Swole. Unspectacular, but solid.
Yeah. I feel like they should have used her more, actually. So maybe for me, she's only just about bearable.
I'll go with that. Maybe is it all right? I enjoyed the Britt Baker stuff, me. Oh, it was quite good.
Yeah, people didn't seem to like the match that much, though, did they? Because it opened the show. And people were saying it shouldn't have opened the show. And that show got criticised a lot anyway because of Matt Hardy's fall. So I don't know.
All right or bearable?
Yeah, go on, all right, then go on.
It's Christmas after all, I think. I don't know when this one's going live.
Yeah,
Evil Uno, whose Twitch and Twitter game maybe outshines his stuff in the wrestling ring here in the year 2020. Funny bits on Being the Elite with Brodie Lee as well, obviously getting slapped in the head with some sheets of paper more than once. He's not really stood out this year, though, in terms of in-ring stuff. But very much in 2019, he was the leader of the Dark Order, sort of acting on behalf of this Exalted One. But after Brodie Lee arrived in the company, the Dark Order just seem to have dropped off, haven't they? Big time.
Yeah. And I like Evil Uno as well.
So
he's often the one who cuts the promos, isn't he, when Brodie's not around?
Yeah. In terms of highlights in the ring, I've got written down the singles match he had with Hangman on Dynamite not too long ago. That was a good match.
Okay.
You remember that one?
Yeah, I do. That was a good match. But you're right, last year was more his year than this one. So it's either alright or it's bearable. Oh, maybe he's only bearable.
I'll go bearable. It's the stuff outside of Dynamite that's taking
Yeah,
precedence.
you're right. Yeah, he hasn't really done enough to get out of bearable. It's not his fault.
Booking. But then again, that's what they do in AEW. They just take people out for a while and then let them rest up, I guess. He's had lots of matches on Dark as well, I should say. But then again, I don't watch Dark to comment on what he's been doing. I don't think too much storyline stuff happens on Dark either, does it? So
yeah.
Kazarian.
No, I think that's fair. Kazarian for me is lovely. Kazarian has been, I think he's had a bit of a renaissance year. He's been, I find him fantastic.
Squint.
I mean,
and he looks like Randy Orton with his new hair.
His hair's good. He looks good. He's when you've got the backing of cultaholic writer and former pro wrestler Lewis the Dragon Beardsley, who said that he's a good hand in the ring, I was like, yeah, well,
that's one hell
Lewis
of a
knows what
rub.
he's talking about.
That's one hell of a rub.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Kazarian's great to watch, and I just like to see him do more stuff. But I understand that he's more of a veteran and he's making room for the younger lads and lasses.
Yeah, we're looking at the highlights this year, and of course he lost the tag titles at the start of the year. He wrestled Chris Jericho in a singles match for the first time ever, even though those two lads have been doing the wrestling for hundreds of years. He's got lots of wins on Dark. As you say, yeah, he never lets you down when he does appear, but the appearances on Dynamite especially have been few and far between this year, which is why I'm surprised to see you say he deserves to go in lovely.
It might be a bit of recency bias because a lot of he's been back in the fold very recently with the Jericho match and everything. Maybe he's just alright then.
I'll let you decide, Jack.
I really want to see him in lovely actually. I feel like he's impressed every time.
But if you've got any complaints, they go to him, not to me.
Yeah, that's my fault, that one.
Then we go on to Private Party. Always good, aren't they? They've got the relationship with Matt Hardy going. Like, Matt Hardy is the Michael P.S. Hayes to their Hardy Boys circa 1998, 1999. Mark Quinn challenged Cody for the TNT title. Cassidy had a singles match with Chris Jericho. They've been milling about on Dark. They've been milling about on Dynamite. Then, of course, they turned up in the Elite Deletion match to help Matt Hardy, their biological father, within the storylines on AEW. But I thought there would have been more from Private Party this year.
Oh.
Do you reckon?
Maybe, but I suppose the problem is that the big Hangman storyline and the Bucks and FTR and everything all kind of took over the tag division a lot this year. So maybe that's why Private Party haven't quite been as at the forefront as we'd have imagined. And now the top flight are on the scene, who wrestle a similar style but are younger. You got to fear for them, really.
There's a feud there to happen, surely, just to let those two teams have lots of good long flippy-do matches. But is it all right, or is that too harsh?
No, I think that's a bit too harsh because all that stuff with Mark Quinn challenging Cody, I think nudges them up to lovely.
They are good, though, aren't they? It's just me wanting more. I just want more for the lads, just want the best for them. And then we had Jake Hager, who at the time of recording still hasn't had sex with Wardlow. We had the stuff at the start of the year Well, we're building towards that. The tension.
There's so much tension.
The tension is unreal. Then we had obviously the stuff at the start of the year where Jake Hager had his wife assaulted at the hands of. No, that makes me sound like Jake Hager set Dustin up to do it. That's not true at all. Dustin assaulted Jake Hager's wife during Jake Hager's in-ring debut at Revolution, all the way back in February. Then other highlights, we've got the trip to Vegas, we've got the Stadium Stampede, and I think he had a bottle smashed over his head, didn't he? And lived to tell the tale. Didn't even flinch, I think that was right. The Inner Circle shenanigans, Justin Hull, always a highlight, and he does the best work of his career just by standing there and doing nothing. Although, he had that promo, didn't he? I've just remembered there, where he said something menacing in the form of a poem or something like that. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
And it all came out very fluidly, and it was just a fantastic promo. But then on top of that, something I forgot about which happened this year was the empty arena no holds barred match for the AEW World Title against Jon Moxley, which was better. It was better than maybe it looked on paper.
I was disappointed by that match, but it wasn't their fault. It was Tony's fault, Tony Khan, because he hyped it up on Twitter beforehand as like the best no fans match ever or something like that, and it just turned out to be quite a good match. Maybe
that was the debut of condescending Tony Khan that we saw in Impact Wrestling not too long ago with the K, where he was just like, oh, this is the best match ever, when he didn't really mean it. So Jake Hager, where are we going?
I'd go all right for Jake Hager.
I think that's fair. He does because I was thinking when he joined the Inner Circle, I was like, what the hell's going on here? But then there's a place for him in the does that make sense? There's a place for him in the Inner Circle, and he does it well. He
fulfills a role,
and
he's still undefeated in MMA.
I mean, does that? I don't know. The fight he had the most recent fight was a good one. I watched that one, but he just seems to fight people that look like me.
He fights a lot of people who don't look like him. But then, how many people look like him?
He is a 6'6" Greek god.
Yeah,
that was easy for me to say. But then we're moving on to Joey Janela, who, in terms of highlights this year, he was in the Casino ladder match. The tag team with Sonny Kiss, where they had some nice promos, driving down the street in a car. They look nice. He's infatuated with Sonny Kiss's arse. He gets bowled over when Sonny Kiss flicks his hips in his direction. Lots of dark matches for Joey Janela this year. He had a match with Gangrel in September, which no doubt about it would have got 12 stars. It ruled 12 times over. He appeared in GCW Warrior Wrestling away from AEW. Bearable for me, though, Joey Janela this year.
Yeah, he's not had too much to do this year, on Dynamite at least, which is a shame, because he's... Part of what he does, though, Darby Allin's kind of got a lot of that covered for now. He does the reckless, crazy stuff, which Joey Janela's made a name off of. So I don't really know what to think of Joey. Hopefully he gets more of a chance to shine next year. But yeah, bearable, I'd agree.
And then we're moving on to John Silver, who is a man of meat, a standout on being the elite. That rhymed. He had a match with Hangman on Dynamite. That was very good. Lots more matches on Dark than compared to Dynamite, although he has been coming to the fore more and more over recent weeks and months. So who knows what's in store in 2021. I get the feeling he could be like another sort of Orange Cassidy in the fact that maybe there wasn't too much like high hopes for him heading in when he signed, but now that the crowd are on side with him, he might be allowed to go and flourish and fly away with the Eagles' nest. What do you reckon, John Silver?
He also had a great match with Orange Cassidy that we should mention as well.
Oh yes, of course.
On Full Gear. Yeah. I think he's lovely tier.
I'll go there.
Even though he's made the... Sorry, I was going to say he's made the very most out of not that much that he's been given, but he's made the very most out of it.
Yeah, I was just going to say if we put many lower, there might have been some sort of hell on in the comments down below. Downvotes and everything. And then we go on to Jon Moxley, who did the coolest pregnancy reveal ever I've got written down here. I was pretty tired when I made these notes. The coolest pregnancy reveal ever, just by dropping it in there during that promo on Dynamite. Nelly joined the Inner Circle. Well, I say that he had them playing like fools, didn't he? With the car and whatnot, just took the car, smashed a bottle of champagne over Chris Jericho, kind of, I guess, or was it the other way around?
Can't remember, but it was a good feud.
The bottle smashed before it made impact, I think.
Yes.
He defeated Pac to become number one contender for the title at Revolution. Then, of course, he would win at Revolution the match against Hager. We've mentioned Brodie Lee at Double or Nothing. Brian Cage at Fight for the Fallen. Darby Allin on Dynamite. These are the notable title defences. Then, of course, we had the big old MJF feud with Dictator John and all that stuff. Eddie Kingston, we had 2 matches. Lance Archer, and finally against Kenneth Omega, where he lost. He lost thanks to a microphone and Donathan Callis.
Yes. I think Moxley's obviously got to be in the top tier, surely.
Yes, he does. I would agree with that.
Yeah. I wish he was my friend. It's very cool.
You wish you could go to the library and take some cocaine and read some books?
No, that's in his past though, isn't it?
I can't believe you mentioned it. It was on Renee's podcast not long ago. Oh yeah, I'd never told you this, Renee, but I'm here on my podcast, or here on your podcast. I used to go to the library and bash some cocaine
and read some books. I mean, he was so hungry for knowledge and other things.
I wouldn't imagine too much info would stick when you're in that sort of state, though, would you? Penelope Ford. I can't say the word Penelope. I can now, but when I really concentrate. But I always just say Penelope, thanks to Booker T. Yeah. What a fantastic pronunciation of that word.
Yeah. What did she do? She stepped in, didn't she? Was it Statlander got injured? Or who was it who got injured? She stepped
Britt
in
Baker.
Yes.
Britt Baker hurt her leg, I think it was, and then Penelope stepped in to face Kris Statlander at Double or Nothing.
That was it. Yes. And she did well.
She did do well. Surely there's more things to come for Penelope in 2021. Because in 2020, most of her stuff has been on Dark. We had that match there against Kris Statlander that we've mentioned. She faced Shida at Fyter Fest, which is a match I've completely forgot that happened. Then she announced that she and Kip Sabian were getting married, teasing the best man. She had a couple of 4-ways on Dynamite at the early parts of the year, but it's been a simmerer of a year for Penelope.
I think she deserves to go in all right, you know. I think she does.
When she wrestles, she's always impressive, I guess.
Yeah, she's always impressive, and big things are to come, because I can't wait for that wedding angle. I thought that Orange Cassidy was going to win that diamond ring so that Sabian would feud with him over the ring, because he wants to use the ring in the wedding.
That would make more sense, wouldn't it?
I'm glad that there wasn't a betting market on for that match that I could find, because I'd have put so much on Orange Cassidy beating MJ.
How much?
Oh, upwards of £6.
Bloody hell! The odds you would have got on that would have made him. 30 or 40 quid you would have taken home there?
I'd have been out of here. God. I'd have been in Los Angeles.
Jungle Boy we're moving on to now, who this time last year was lasting 10 minutes with Chris Jericho in matches, and you're thinking, bloody hell, we've got another main eventer on the cusp of greatness here in December of 2019. But now, as we're sat here in December of 2020, it hasn't really happened, has it?
No, Jungle Boy's not had as much to do, and I don't know why. I thought this would be the year of Jungle Boy.
They're just saving him. I think that's my own explanation, because he is 12 years old after all, and he is fantastic at the professional wrestling. But in terms of highlights, he got his first win in AEW on an episode of Dark in January. Then, of course, he lost to MJF in a match at Double or Nothing. He had a
good match.
Yep, good match there. He had another good match against Cody for the TNT title on Dynamite.
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
I'm just realising now that he has actually had quite a good start. First half of the year he had some big matches.
At All Out, himself and Luchasaurus lost to the Young Bucks. The World Title Eliminator out in the first round to Wardlow. And then there's just been lots of matches for Jurassic Express on Dark. And that's, I guess, where they're sort of like, oh, maybe he hasn't done as much as you might have thought this time last year, because a lot of it's been on Dark.
Before you'd done that recap, I was going to say Bearable, which would have been a massive fall for Jungle Boy. But now that you've recapped that, I think all right. I think he's got himself in all right.
You would expect more, though, wouldn't you?
You would, but it's not his fault. And I think you're right. I think he's so young and so talented that the only way is up for him. And Meltzer can't stop talking about how good looking he is.
Really?
Meltzer loves to mention... And maybe it was more towards the early days of Dynamite, but Meltzer would always go like, yeah, Jungle Boy's so marketable. Like, the teenage girls just absolutely love Jungle Boy. Just mentioned it so much.
Sat there with his dick in his hand on the radio. Uncle Dave. There's a thought for you. Shanna. Not Shanna, but Shanna. Spent 8 months away due to COVID, because I think she lives in France. She beat Tesha, or is it Tisha Price? I think I saw
Tesha.
It's a Tesha. She beat Tesha Price on Dark. A couple of matches for Revolution Pro as well outside of AEW. We had a tables match with Nyla Rose on Dark, and of course she lost to Kris Statlander on Dynamite. But I tell you what, she's really good.
Yeah, she is good. She is good. But I don't know if I can justify putting her that high.
No. Bearable or alright, I think that's the region we're looking at here. Who's in
alright?
Anna Jay, Daniels, Abaddon, Dustin, Big Swole, Jake Hager. I think she's below that, isn't she?
I think, yeah, she's bearable, which is a shame, because she is good.
Bloody COVID getting in the way, travelling and whatnot. And then we have a guy who I'm just going to put in the best straight away, because it's one Kenneth Omega.
Yeah.
Would you like to wax lyrical about Kenneth Omega while we sat here now?
Well, it was a weird trajectory for Omega, because he wasn't a main eventer straight away after that loss to Jericho. He kind of went down, and then the tag division, but that tag feud with Hangman and the Bucks was amazing, and then the feud with Hangman himself was amazing again, and he's had so many good matches. Was the match with Pac this year the Iron Man?
Yep, the 30-minute Iron Man match was on Dynamite, wasn't it? Right at the start of the year.
That was a brilliant match.
Stadium Stampede he was involved in, the match against the Bucks at Revolution. Winter is Coming, of course, the big title match where he won the title, the stuff with Don Callis and Impact. It looks like he's going to win a lot of titles for a lot of promotions as a belt collector kind of gimmick, like he did with the comic books in his youth. What an inspirational babyface he is. But yeah, Kenny's in the best, isn't he? I don't think we need to say him. The match FTR All Out as well, I guess we got mentioned there as well, and his commentary appearances as well. I like them.
Yeah, I prefer his commentary to his promos, actually. When he's a bit calmer. But he does need, if it's true that he's in charge of booking the women's division,
pull his finger out, doesn't he?
Yeah, but in terms of him himself, top tier.
Taz filled in for Big Dick Tony Schiavone at the start of the year, and he really added to the commentary team, because out of everybody in the world of professional wrestling, nobody explains why moves happen and what the damage moves do to people's bodies and stuff like that. And Taz does that all the time. That's the main thing I like about Taz's commentary, not just the fact that him and Excalibur take the piss on Dark.
No.
Then, of course, as Brian Cage debuted, Taz started managing Brian Cage at Double or Nothing. The heel promos, they speak for themselves. One of the best promos in AEW, if not professional wrestling as a whole, is Taz here in 2020. Fight for the Fallen. A thing that made him stand out as a manager is the fact that he wanted to protect his investment as he threw in the towel, as Jon Moxley had Brian Cage locked in some kind of submission kind of ting. And then, the stuff on Dark just proves how versatile he is. Fantastic stuff from Taz. At least lovely, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. It's hard to give a manager / non-wrestler the top tier, but I think he's definitely lovely, easily.
We'll go in there next to Johnny Hungy, who looks like he could be his son in the picture.
But he's not, because his son looks like me, apparently. People have been tweeting me that.
Really?
When Hook showed up. Yeah, he was in a hoodie, and I've had my hair cut now, but he had a bit of a fringe emo thing going on, and people were like, thought this was the jobber, lol. And neither me nor Hook replied to those tweets. So there we go.
That's it, isn't it? That's it. You should reply though. Big it up. Just say you are.
I am Taz's son. Yeah,
you've got like a father-son relationship with Taz, dating back many years, haven't you?
He scared me once in Twitter DMs. Yeah.
Tell the viewers at home who might not know what happened.
Oh man, I wrote and did a voiceover for a list at What Culture once, which was like, I want to say it was one about, I was talking about something like ECW folk moving to WWE and saying, and the Dudleys did alright, didn't they? And Taz, well, not really Taz. That was the joke, because Taz obviously beat Angle at the start and then didn't really do much else in ring. And someone grasped me, like tagged Taz, and went, "They are having your life here, Taz." And I got a DM from Taz saying, "Hello, have you disrespected me in any way?" I was like, oh god. And then, due to the egging on of a certain member of What Culture and WCPW, an older man who should have known better than to egg me on, I replied, "No, it was Dragon."
Oh, the Dragon Izu.
I went to, gave it back to Taz, and because of that, somehow, because I was so fearless, Taz respected that and went, "Oh, just joking, brother. Good stuff. We're really getting one over on the marks outside of the DMs, aren't we? And I was like, yeah. And then the next time Taz got in touch was to ask for contact info of someone else that I knew. And I was just kind of a middleman. And since then, me and Taz have had no issues. I've never really spoken to him again, but hopefully I'm now allowed to set foot in Brooklyn without being immediately choked out. Yeah, scary. That was scary, that.
Just got to watch out for Hook now, haven't you?
I do. I was a younger man, Ross. I was more reckless back then. I would never do that these days. I'd just apologise immediately.
Kip Sabian, your close personal friend, of course. You said hello in Las Vegas when we went last year.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I've met him a few times and he's a nice man. But also I hate him in a way.
Why? Because he's good looking.
Very, very attractive man, yeah. It's annoying.
Feuded with Joey Janela at the start of the year, which of course had real life implications because Penelope used to date Joey Janela. Now she's engaged to Kip Sabian. Oh, big hot stuff here. What the hell am I doing here? He lost to Dustin Rhodes in the first round of the TNT tournament, but of course he was always going to do that with the retirement stipulation Dustin put on that match. Then of course we have the stuff with Penelope and Miro, which I'm not a fan of at all. The feud with the best friends doesn't out for me. I know it's funny because it's wrestling and like, oh no, his gaming machine got broke by a man falling on it, but it's a bit naff.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know if it's not really what done it for me, but the wedding angle gives me hope, Ross. Because if anything can reignite Kip Sabian's AEW career, then it's this big wedding angle.
And hopefully it has all the tropes of every single professional wrestling. Oh, Kane should come. A priest should get tombstoned. Eric Bischoff revealing all of them. Get all the tropes in.
So I think it's just about bearable, but I've still got hope for Kip. I think the good stuff's going to come.
I still think he's highly rated backstage, surely, just by the way he's used it. Lance Archer, who turns on Jake the Snake Roberts, by the way. I'll never forget that. One of my most abiding memories of the year 2020 is Jake the Snake cutting that promo on Dynamite, where he admitted that just watching Lance Archer beat up men turned him on in a sexual manner, and that's why he's the manager of Lance Archer, just to get near Lance Archer. Another one is the fact that he did a moonsault off the top rope to Cody Rhodes.
Now, I once went back and watched the early TNA pay-per-views, like 2004, like not the weekly pay-per-views, when they first got on proper monthly pay-per-views, and he was known then as Dallas, I believe. And I remember being shocked at how agile he was. And then when I learned that Dallas was Lance Archer, I was like, oh, it makes so much sense. Because he can do some freakish things for a man of his size. And do you think he's got the best look in AEW? One of the best looks?
He's up there, but the best look for me is always going to be the Butcher. Imagine walking into a pub and seeing the Butcher sat at the bar. You'd go nowhere near him, would you? You'd stay well away. But the squash matches have been the name of the game by and large for Lance Archer here in 2020. Throwing men everywhere. That guy went through the ceiling. He got put in a bin. That poor strawberry blonde looking fella. What was he? I don't know who it was. Do you know who it was?
No, I don't know who it was.
Poor random man. The TNT title tournament got all the way to the finals, of course, before losing to Cody after Mike Tyson, I think, forgot his cue and the referees had to come out and fill the blanks for him. But Mike Tyson was supposed to stop Jake the Snake Roberts from interfering on Lance Archer's behalf. He won the Casino Battle Royal, of course, did Lance Archer, but he failed to win in a no DQ match. He failed to win the title, of course, in a no DQ match against Jon Moxley. Then, of course, we've got the Eddie Kingston feud now, where there's been a kind of a face turn.
Yeah, which is fine. I think that's fine.
I think he's good as a fun just watching him throw men about, isn't it?
That's why I think he's lovely.
I'd agree with that.
Tier.
Yeah.
I know he's been losing all the matches that actually matter, but you know, people look really good when they beat him because he's terrifying.
Luchasaurus, who again, just like Jungle Boy, if you were to say start of this year, he'd have done these things. He'd have gone, really? Are you sure? He lost his last match on Dynamite, by the way, was in September.
Oh.
September. Second fiddle in the MJF/Jungle Boy feud. Stuff with Wardlow. He was in the casino ladder match, of course, which I'd completely forgotten about until I'd done the research for this here tier video. The Lumberjack match against Wardlow, I should have said, of course. That was the big match they had. All Out, the tag match against the Young Bucks. And he's been winning most of his matches on Dark, and that's just about it for Luchasaurus. He had a singles match against Mr. Bailey. Aaron Solo. I think he's still Mr. Bailey.
Yeah, I think they're engaged. Oh man, are we really going to put Luchasaurus in bearable? Because it's looking that way, which is weird. Cause
if we've put Jungle Boy in all right, I think we want to put Luchasaurus in bearable, haven't we?
No, because Jungle Boy had those singles matches with Jericho and Cody.
That's what I mean. He's at least a tier above Luchasaurus.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yes, absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
So there we have it. Luchasaurus and just about bearable. Jen.
That's crazy.
Jen just did something disastrous to her own
I can't believe you've done this. She felt a great disturbance in the force. I can't. That's awful. Really bad.
Accents
really
are
bad
hard.
Accent.
Yeah. Luther.
Oh, put him in the bin.
He's in the bin. The first man in the bin is Luther. He defeated.
No. Oh wait, who else is in the? Oh, Mel's in the bin.
Mel's in the bin. Awesome Kong's in the bin, and Emi Sakura is also in the bin.
Wow, we just hate women. It turns out, bloody hell.
Yeah, that's us. Yeah, but no, that's symptomatic of AEW's use of the women's division and the coronavirus, of course. That's why those three are in the bin. Luther defeated Sonny Kiss and John Cruz in singles matches. John Cruz.
Nice.
No, John Cruz.
Yeah, he's in Mission Impossible.
That's him. Then, of course, he started the tag team Chaos Project with Serpentico and maybe David Arquette. I had no idea until doing the Straight to Hell with David Arquette that there was a big rumour on Reddit that Serpentico is David Arquette, but it's clearly not.
David might have learned some. He might have been down the trampoline park a lot.
Just two different looking men, aren't they?
Yeah.
Chris Jericho anniversary match is the other big highlight.
This match was brilliant. Oh,
the team of Jake Hager and Jericho taking on Chaos Project. Main event, and of course, Luther in the main event. We know why he's there in AEW.
Luther, Jericho gave his mate a lot of. Well, he's given him a lot in AEW anyway. But in that tag match, Luther was beating the crap out of Chris Jericho.
And I forgot to mention, of course, the start of the year, the bloody. The what they were called?
The Nightmare Collective.
Nightmare Collective, that's the one. They were still a thing at the start of this year. Thank God they're not anymore.
Brandy's tease of who it was, kissing his little bald head. What was that about?
I've got no idea. I've got to imagine
Chris. The way they did that was as if it was going to be someone, and we all went, "Oh!" Like they didn't reveal who it was. She just kissed him on the head, and he was facing the other way. And then he came out on commentary, like, "That's Luther," and I was like,
"The real death dealer."
Yeah.
Yeah. Luther. God.
But I like him in a weird way because he's so pants, so bad.
Yeah.
I quite find him when he turns up. I'm like, yes, get in.
Matt Hardy, who started the era, of course, in WWE, he confronted Randy Orton on Raw the week after. I think it was the week after Orton attacked Edge, and then Hardy got attacked by Orton, and that was his final appearance in WWE. Was getting his arse handed to him by Randall Keith. Broken Matt then appears in AEW. He then replaces Nick Jackson for Blood and Guts Come Stadium Stampede, the whole warfare between the Elite and the Inner Circle. He did the pool reincarnation, the pool reincarnation thing in the Stadium Stampede match. He then teamed up with Kenny Omega a couple of times, one against Les Sex Gods in a street fight match. Then, of course, we had the Sammy Guevara stuff. I am not a fan whatsoever of the multifarious Matt Hardy. I just want him to have one gimmick because it's a bit... When he's 1 week he's 90s Matt Hardy, then he's broken Matt Hardy, then he's the other Matt Hardy. It's just a bit... bleh.
I remember you were a fan of when he changed between them by just going...
Yeah, it was the match, wasn't it? On Dynamite, he just would go... Then he's a different gimmick. It's naff in the Luther kind of way, though. I guess that's the most endearing thing about it. It is just a bit naff, isn't it? It is naff. Come on, just say it's crap. I know that Tony Khan pays us £5 a week, but it's crap AEW.
I enjoyed bits of it. I enjoyed the match with Jericho and Sammy, with the locking him in the freezer and then him getting out. And they ran over Sammy in a golf cart.
Yeah, that was
good.
Yeah.
But then there was the fall, which was terrifying at All Out as well, which they should just never have let him carry on that match.
No.
At all. I'm glad he didn't get more hurt.
And then the Elite Deletion match as well, we've got to mention. That was all kinds of fun, seeing Gangrel in AEW and the Hurricane, of course. Interactions with Private Party, I guess, are the other noteworthy things from 2024, Matt Hardy. But are we going all right, or is that harsh? Because he has done some good stuff, and he's still defying the odds at the age he is, and with all the stuff he's done to his body down the years.
I think that I'm fine with him just being in all right, though.
It's not really hit like it has in previous years, has it? It's not really worked. It's not really clicked.
No, it started off hot. It was like, oh, here we go. But since then, it has fizzled a bit. But I'm all right with that because AEW are doing a good job of pairing their biggest stars, the older ones, with, like in his case, Private Party. And it looks like they might be we don't know at the time of recording, but didn't he recently eliminate one of them from the Battle Royal just cause?
Yeah.
He might be turning on his lads.
Every man for himself and all that malarkey.
Yeah.
Now we move on to Miro, and it beggars belief that AEW, who listens to the fans so much, would see how Rusev was booked, especially when Rusev Day was a thing, and even though he was most over-thinging the company and the t-shirt sales were the best in the company wanted to be a heel, so a heel he was. Surely they could see that everyone was gagging for Rusev Miro to be a babyface, but no, he's still a heel, battling against best friends. He started the year in WWE, of course, we should mention this, feuding with Lana and Lashley, teaming up with Liv Morgan. That was quickly scrapped. His final appearance for WWE was alongside Humberto Carrillo. Yes, Rusev and Humberto, the tag team of your dreams. What a good-looking tag team, by the way, in different ways, of course.
Absolutely.
Against Lashley and Garza, they lost that match, I presume. He was released in April, along with all the rest of the lads and lasses. The COVID cuts, I think they're known as. Heartbreakingly so. Debuted in AEW in September as the best. He is the best. He is the best man. Crap theme. Not a fan of it whatsoever. But then, there was the stuff with the video game machine thingy getting broken, and then there was something where they turned the Xbox off, and whoa.
Yeah. I feel like a bit of a fool, Ross, because when he first debuted in that tag team with Kip Sabian, and everyone went on Twitter and said, oh, why? I jumped on Twitter and said, don't panic, everybody. This isn't going to last very long. He'll turn on Kip, he'll destroy him, and then he'll be off to the moon, to quote Cameron Grimes. And he's not. He's not done that. And I've seen theories that he doesn't care about wrestling anymore and he's just doing it to advertise his Twitch, which could be true. Which could be true because, you know.
Hey, who knows? He might be like Mrs. Thea Trinidad.
Yeah.
Have I said that right? Why don't I just call her Zelina Vega, where she makes more from her Twitch than she does her professional wrestling career? And if that is the case, I would care more about Twitch than wrestling, because Twitch hurts less as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to see where Miro goes. I don't know if there was the run-in, wasn't there, on the most recent Dynamite to the one where I sat here at the end of the show where he was just decimating all kinds of bodies and throwing people about. So maybe that's hinting at some better things to come, but it's been really underwhelming so far, just because he's a heel more than anything in my perspective, which is maybe a bit warped because I loved Rusev. He was my favourite wrestler. Well, one of my favourite wrestlers anyway. Why he's not a babyface, it baffles me, because he's just such a likeable guy. And I don't understand why these companies just don't allow him to be that thing unless he's just especially passionate about being hated as a heel.
Maybe. I get part of the reason is because he's so imposing and scary, but at the same time, you're right. He's very naturally likable. So I don't know.
Bearable.
Yeah, which is mad. Next year, hopefully, he'll be a lot better.
Could he go in the bin? Has it been that bad?
No, it hasn't been. He's not Luther.
Nah, he's not Luther level. That's not fair. Riho is still a member of the AEW roster. She defended her title. She was still the champion at the start of this year. That feels like 10 years ago. Defended the title against Kris Statlander in January. She lost the title to Nyla Rose after 133 days as champion. We had a dark match where she teamed with Kenny Omega against Kip Sabian and Penelope. Her last match in AEW, though, was on the 18th of March. That was a four-way, I think it was, where Shida defeated Kris Statlander and Penelope and Riho. And then since then, she's been wrestling for Stardom. And Gato Move Pro Wrestling once again, Jack.
Gato Move. Oh, no. Yeah, I hope Riho comes back and does more stuff. I know that a lot of people decide that they're not really fans of Riho because she's too small or whatever. I never really like that argument because...
Why does it matter?
Like you've said before, wrestling's a variety show and it's not even real. So why does it matter that she can't... But do you know what I mean? So, like, if you're fine with Rey Mysterio doing well and beating up people bigger than him, then why can't Riho do the same?
I reckon I know what it is. I reckon it's just the fact that Jim Ross would mention the fact that she was that small in every single match she had. And that wears you down a bit after a while, doesn't it? But
yeah,
she's good at the wrestling. Do I care? It's much. Do I care? Is the issue? It's getting invested in her matches. I know when she was against Nyla Rose, it was really easy to get invested because Nyla Rose is that imposing, and the odds are that's stacked up against Riho, aren't they? In that sort of situation. But the title run, I think, had run its course by the time it ended. I think it ended maybe at the right time. Maybe it was a little bit too long. Some might say, but where do you reckon for Riho? It's a hard one to judge because she's not wrestled in AEW since March. I presume you've been watching Stardom every single week.
And Gato Move.
Yeah.
I reckon probably bearable then.
Should we go bearable? Is that a bit too hot? We'll go towards the top.
Has Riho been wrestling for Stardom? I'm going to do a Google now.
According to Cage Match, she has.
Really? Was it like one-off?
I don't know. No, there was a few on there. I think there was a few on there.
Really? I didn't think she was a regular member of the Stardom roster. I'm gonna see what you did. Sorry, carry on.
Well, next up is Jade Cargill, who debuted by calling. You got him there.
Wow, she's been wrestling Stardom loads. What's wrong with me? Wow, fair play to her. Go on, Riho. You go, Riho. Huh?
Jade, who debuted, of course, by saying, "Cody, you've got a small willy, you do."
Yeah.
And it's been and then she teased the debut of Shaq. I know this big giant Cody who's coming after you, Cody. He's definitely coming after you. He's called Shaq.
Jade hasn't done enough for us to really know where to put her at the minute.
She's done a stomp on Brandi's arm. She's
broke around. Yeah, she broke Brandi's arm.
Done another backstage scuffle involving Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero.
Is Vicky on this list, by the way?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, so I'll talk about it later then.
Jade, though, where do you want to put Jade? Bearable?
Bearable, because there's not been much.
Her promo wasn't very good, though, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah, but it was funny. I found it.
It was ironic.
It was an absurd. Funny, It was an absurd segment. It was so strange. Brandi came out and cut a hell of a promo on her.
This is we'll get on to Brandi later on. But she came out as a babyface in that one, going, "Don't you speak about my man like that." Yeah. Then she got the sympathetic beatdown where she had her arm broken. Then she was having a go at Tony Schiavone and being a heel.
Yeah, it's a bit. I know your point about how she's being a bit Stephanie-esque.
Inconsistent.
It is sort of true.
We'll get on to Brandi later because, like AEW, she's taken over this tier ranking as well, when she maybe shouldn't be doing. But MJF, we're moving on to now, and this has just got to be in the top, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's top tier.
Top tier. We'll go through the highlights. The stuff with Cody at the start of the year with the stipulations and the lashings and the humorous beat Wardlow inside of the cage. Then, was it against the odds? He beat Cody at Revolution? Is that a bit unfair?
Yeah.
This is Cody we're speaking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it
I thought Cody was probably going to win that match, yeah.
Jungle Boy at Double or Nothing, one hell of a match. He beat MJF, pronouns pal. MJF beat Jungle Boy by holding his tights in the midst of a roll-up. Wardlow and MJF then defeated Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Then we had the feud with Jon Moxley with Dictator John. The title match at All Out, which he was not successful in. I think that was his first loss, wasn't it, in AEW?
Yeah, it was a good match, though.
Good match as well. The Jericho stuff, La Dinner Debonair, all that stuff. He joins the Inner Circle after winning that match at Full Gear. Then he wins the Dynamite Diamond Ring for a second time, as Jack had already proven. Maybe wasn't the most logical move to do, but we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
He's in the best tier. Yuka Sakazaki
absolutely
is still in AEW with her theme, which was missing at the start of the year for some reason. It must be some sort of royalties legal stuff that we don't know about. She made a Dynamite debut this year by defeating Britt Baker in February. At the end of February, Shida defeats Big Swole, Shanna and Yuka in a fatal 4-way match. We had a dark match where Britt Baker and Penelope defeated Riho and Yuka Sakazaki, and that was our last match. Ever since then, she's been wrestling for promotions like...
please no.
No, everyone's favourite Gato Pro Wrestling. Gato Move Pro Wrestling, sorry.
Gato Move.
It's Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling.
Oh, she's been getting some Wrestlers of the Week points in Tokyo Joshi Pro. She's the champion there.
So where would this... Putting her performances... Because obviously she's stuck thanks to the pandemic. It's not her fault that AEW haven't been using her. So let's put these... Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling performances into the tier ranking, because we're encapsulating everything in 2020 here in this tier ranking thing. WWE, all this stuff. Where should go?
Well, I think there was 2 matches in particular that were like very good quality. So I don't know whether that's all right or lovely, but one of those 2, I'd suggest. One of those 2, they're all right, because to a wider audience, maybe she's disappeared a bit, but she's still been doing well. So all right, I think is fair.
Marko Stunt, we move on to now, who has been in the midst of many... What?
I've realised that he might be my favourite. Away from the ring, Marko Stunt might be my favourite AEW personality.
Just because he can sing? Good.
Not just that, he's a very entertaining man. Everything I've seen him in, he's very, very likeable. I think he's brilliant. And he can sing, which is a bonus.
Sing, yeah. There was that performance he did on the Jericho cruise at the start of the year.
Sunglasses at Night, what a tune as well.
Maybe that should get me the best tier. Yeah, but in the ring, he's been involved in many 6-man tag team matches against the likes of the Inner Circle and Strong Hearts. Remember them?
Oh, Strong Hearts, Shima.
Yeah.
And the other lads.
Tag matches. He's been involved with both Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and all 3 of them, of course. Squash match defeats against the likes of Lance Archer and Brodie Lee, where he was thrown about like a small wrestling figurine toy kind of thing.
Yeah.
He had a match versus MJF as well. Moving into more singles matches stuff as the year sort of went on. He had singles matches against Joey Janela and Sammy Guevara on Dark. He's had matches for GCW and that aforementioned Cape Championship Wrestling. So where do we reckon for Marko Stunt here in the year 2020? Luchasaurus is in just about bearable. Jungle Boy is in all right.
Oh, that's really tricky because he's not stood out as much as Jungle Boy, in my opinion. But he's done a bit better than Luchasaurus, so he's like in between those 2.
We'll go the top of bearable alongside Riho and people of that ilk. We're moving on to the Young Bucks.
Oh, okay.
Highlights for the year. We've got the Revolution match against Page and Omega. Full Gear, FTR. We've got 8-man tags, 12-man tags, the stuff against the Butcher and the Blade. Stadium Stampede with Matt jumping off the poles there. The goals inside that football stadium. Any other highlights you can think of off the top of your head?
Only it was a low light, the weird heel turn, but apart from that, no, they've been pretty class, haven't they? No, I think you've covered pretty much all of it there that I can think of. I mean, the Young Bucks are really consistent. They'll have good performances like every week they're on, and it's not always the sort of match that people enjoy, but when they're on form, there's not really any tag teams like them. One bit that I enjoyed was when Nick was at home and couldn't show up to tapings, so they did the old Toy Story Woody and Buzz. Like, Matt was like, Nick was off camera and Matt was pretending he was there. He's like, come on, Nick. Because his foot would appear from off camera and kick someone, and Matt would be like, yeah, that showed you. Come on, Nick, let's go. Yeah. And you had to just, they must think we're stupid. But apart from that, they're not my favourite tag. I'm always more on the FTR side of the divide, but I feel like they've got to be top tier though.
Yeah, Nick Jackson's firmly in the top tier, with Matt holding on to Nick as the
what?
They do though, don't they? It's always Nick doing all the work.
It's Nick doing all the flips and Matt doing all the story. The story.
Matt being lazy and pretending he's injured.
No,
that's what I reckon. No, I'm joking.
Fair enough.
I'm being facetious, of course. They are both good, aren't they? They're not my favourite tag team either, but you got to respect by what they do inside the wrestling ring.
Yeah.
Matt Sydal, who of course had one hell of a debut at All Out as the surprise entrant in the Casino Battle Royal, slipped on the top turnbuckle. Very humid night, lots of sweat. He slipped, nearly died. Thankfully, he didn't. Lost to Sean Spears on Late Night Dynamite. This is weird because he debuted as the big surprise entrant in that Casino Battle Royal and then lost a few matches, which is not how you would think. Because wasn't there rumours of somebody else being the original plan? Was it Nick Gage?
Oh, was it?
Apparently,
Wow.
I think I read that somewhere, unless I dreamt it.
Bloody hell.
Then we had losing matches to Brian Cage on Dynamite with that spot I mentioned earlier where he sort of dove off the top rope towards Brian Cage, who caught his arm in there, then did a suplex. It was amazing to see. He also turned up for Defy Wrestling, not Defiant Wrestling.
Jesus.
PWX, IWA Denver, USA Pro Wrestling, and Ring of Honor. Why I've done those in that order, I've got no idea. Surely I should have done Ring of Honor first. But he's had a few wins on Dark over more recent times against the likes of Aaron Solo, 5 of the Dark Order, Christopher Daniels, Lee Johnson, and Michael Nakazawa. So where are we going for Matt's side? It's been weird.
Yeah, I've got to say bearable, unfortunately.
Why are you saying bearable, unfortunately?
Well, you've got to take that big botch into account, even though it wasn't his fault. It wasn't an ideal debut. And since then, he's been very lower card. He's been a very lower card guy.
Yeah, it's weird how they bring him into such a big position, like the surprise entrant in the Battle Royal, and then just have him lose a fair few matches.
Who was the other one? Brian Cage was the other surprise entrant. So yeah, it is weird.
Michael Nakazawa. Speaking of him, he's had a massive
what's the point?
He's had a massive because he's Kenny Omega's friend, of course.
Yeah.
Best friends defeat Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa. I think that was in April. We had the stuff at the start of the year where War Jordy Pack was being a dick to Michael Nakazawa to get to Kenny Omega. Then he's been exclusively on AEW Dark, which means I haven't seen too much of Michael Nakazawa.
Yeah.
Bin? Bearable?
Yeah, he's been for me, unfortunately.
We'll go Bin.
I don't mind him. I'm sure he's a nice man.
He's fun to watch when he gets the body oil out and he's...
But is there any nuance? Is there any... I think he showed up at Triple Mania, actually, to help Kenny.
Did he?
Didn't work very well, but he tried. Yeah.
Jack the Jobber loves Michael Nakazawa.
Do I? Well, why have you said this?
Because you clearly don't.
No, bless him. He had that match with Jabali as well. That was last year,
wasn't
it?
Last year and should never be spoken of again.
Yeah, he's been, unfortunately for me.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. Nyla Rose defeated Riho to win the AEW Women's World title on Dynamite towards the start of the year. We had the successful defense against Kris Statlander at Revolution, which was a good match if memory serves.
Yes.
Double or nothing. Rose loses the title to Shida. When I thought
was that the no DQ match?
I think it was because the kendo stick stuff. I was thinking Nyla Rose is starting to cut really good promos and starting to become more of a character. Where she was like, "You're looking for your kendo stick, Shida? I found it here, bitch, bosh."
Yeah, it was good.
Then you're thinking, well, she's coming into her own here, sort of like a sassy heel. But it didn't really happen for her in the rest of the year. Vicky Guerrero comes in as a manager. With Vicky Guerrero saying, "I've come here." Oh, Nyla Rose was saying, "I need a manager to take me to the next level and make me world champion," even though I've already held the title. He didn't need it at all. But then again, you're thinking Vicky Guerrero, one hell of a heel promo. Nyla Rose coming into her own as a character. Could be a match made in heaven here. Hasn't happened at all. Barely scratched the surface.
I don't think Nyla needed Vicky.
No.
You know, maybe Jade needed Vicky.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Nyla was the right choice for Vicky because, yeah, as you say, she could cook good promos anyway.
Yeah. So where we going? Because there was... I know a lot of people weren't on board with Nyla Rose in 2019, but in 2020 I was enjoying watching Nyla Rose, me.
Yeah, I thought she really improved and had a good feud, a pretty good feud with Shida. I'd say lovely tier, actually. I know that she's fallen off a bit in the second half of the year, but I'd say she did enough in the first half for lovely.
I'll go lovely with you.
Yes.
And then speaking of a heel turn that was very much needed this year, Dr. Britt Baker, in lowercase speak, of course.
Yeah.
Best heel turn of the year?
Yeah, it's up there, isn't it? It was needed as well because she wasn't really working as a babyface.
No, I am a dentist, therefore a good person. I can smile, but I haven't got much else of a purpose in the wrestling. But then the heel turn happened, and I reckon she became the female Chris Jericho. I don't know how much input Chris Jericho
that's a good shout.
had in her promos and whatnot, because apparently Jericho does help out with some people backstage. But what she did, it was very much like Chris Jericho circa 2003, 2001 kind of time.
I think she's really entertaining. Obviously, she spent a lot of the year out injured, but she stayed relevant and stayed entertaining throughout that, doing all the stuff with Rebel or Reba in the dentist mobile. I can't remember what
Rolls
it was called.
Royce.
The Brit. Yes, and I just think she's just got it. She's very entertaining. I think that maybe she was meant to win the belt by this point. Do you think, if she'd not been injured?
Definitely.
Yeah.
This might come back to haunt me, by the way, but I'm going to compare Britt Baker's 2020 to Stone Cold Steve Austin's 1997.
Whoa. Wow.
Because she got a big injury, just like old Stone Cold did, and it forced him to get creative. That's where I'm coming up with that comparison there.
Fair.
We had Austin on the Zamboni, Britt Baker on her Rolls Royce. We had the stuff in the dentist surgery, and that shot as well. It was the match with Shida where she had her nose broke. Well, did she have a deviated septum anyway, and then that knocked it off even further or something like that. And that shot of her covered in blood. Like,
yeah, she looked evil. It was great.
Yeah, fantastic as well. Yeah, but it's at least lovely for me. It has cooled off a bit.
Yeah,
which is maybe
bit.
keeping her out the best, but good stuff all the same, I reckon.
I agree with that. Yeah,
we're going lovely. And then Orange Cassidy. Have we jumped the shark with Orange Cassidy? I'm asking you the question here.
It's such a tricky one. He's one that I really can't place between best and lovely, because that feud with Pac was so good and the match was so good.
Revolution.
But then the problem is, though, at Revolution, but then the problem is, once you see Orange Cassidy do all that stuff, does it have diminishing returns every time he does it? I remember after his feud with Jericho saying, well, now we've turned him into a fiery babyface, and I thought,
he was anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah, and we don't want him to be just any fiery, but we want him to be a fiery babyface sometimes when he has to be, but we still want him to be Orange Cassidy, and he has gone back towards that a little bit, I feel.
This is the thing, isn't it, with the gimmick, the sort of, is it where it sort of lets itself down, where I remember when we're building towards the Pac match and Chuck Taylor was saying, you're in for it now, Pac, because he's going to try.
Yeah.
But now he's trying all the time, isn't he? That sort of like lost its luster a little bit for me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Hopefully, it feels like he's gone back a little bit to how he used to be, a little bit, in this feud with Miro and Kip Sabian. But I can't place him, Ross. I don't know.
I'll go best, because I love that match with Pac at Revolution. Because the big fear it was for me anyway, heading into Revolution, is more on Pac's side of the tracks, if you want, in the fact that were they going to make Pac wrestle an Orange Cassidy match rather than make an Orange Cassidy wrestle the Pac match, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But it's been a year full of highlights again. They're in dangerous territory with, obviously, as we're saying, with the stuff becoming a bit like, jumping the shark a bit. The Mimosa Mayhem match was a highlight. The stuff with Chris Jericho. He failed to take the TNT title from Brodie, and then he failed to take the TNT title as well from Cody, but that was due to a time limit draw.
Oh yeah, that was a good match. Yeah,
that was a good match as well. So yeah, I still like Orange Cassidy, but we are getting dangerously close, I reckon. Just need to sort of, make him go away for a bit, a few more character stuff rather than matches to get that character stuff back on track, I reckon.
Yeah.
But, he's still good. Kris Statlander, who's had a very unlucky year here in 2020, started off the year looking like she was being primed to be a sort of contender for the women's title, which she was, of course. I mean, maybe primed to hold the title. Is that fair?
Yes, I think maybe. I think that it would have been like, if they'd all gone the way they wanted, maybe it would have gone from Shida to Britt Baker, and then it would have been Statlander who took it from Britt Baker, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Where do you...
But it might not... Maybe Statlander was one for the future for them.
Where do you stand on the whole, she's an alien, that's too silly for the wrestling?
Well, I don't think it's too silly. I feel as though... I don't know if this is going to make sense or not, but I feel as though with these sort of people like her and Abaddon, right, they're not literally the things that they are. They're just so wacky. I don't know if that's going to make any sense or not. I'm fine with Kris Statlander thinking she's an alien.
If you're moaning about if you're moaning about Kris Statlander being an alien, you're full of pish. I think it's a load of crap, that argument. It's wrestling, man. Lighten up, will you?
Yeah.
Of course, we started the year with Kris Statlander locked in a feud with Brandi and the Nightmare Collective.
Oh yeah.
Remember all that stuff at the start of the year?
Yeah.
What was that segment they did on Dynamite that was universally shunned from everybody's memory, including mine. Was it yours as well?
Did they take her hair? No.
There was something happened. I can't remember what it was.
Was it when they were collecting people's hair?
Yeah, Awesome Kong was collecting. Was that? People or fellows saying.
Oh, was it when Kris Statlander and Luther got on each other's faces?
Something happened that was weird, and then they cut to the commercial break, and I'm forgetting about it, to be honest with you. Lost the title match.
Did they recruit?
Sorry, go on.
I don't know. Did they recruit her or try to recruit her, and then she said no? And that might have been it.
Maybe.
But something weird did happen, yeah.
Yeah. We had the title match, obviously, with Nyla Rose, where Kris Statlander was unsuccessful. Then we got injured, and Kris Statlander's last match was in June. So, I mean, it was threatening to do some things. Injury cut her down in her prime. She's coming back soonish, I think. Going off her social media game, she's been doing some workouts and stuff like that with her rehabilitation.
That's good.
Rehabilitation, I should say, not workouts. That shows how much I go to the gym. But Kris Statlander, bearable just because of the injury. And the crap at the start of the year with the Nightmare Collective.
But she could have a big next year. I'm excited.
Santana and Ortiz, proud and powerful. Headlines for this year: Stadium Stampede match, the 5-star parking lot fight with the Best Friends. They were involved in the Elite Deletion as well, of course, and the Las Vegas party. All the Inner Circle stuff's always, pretty much always entertaining. What are you saying for proud and powerful?
I'm saying lovely, lovely, lovely for Proud and Powerful. I think that they've had a really good year in terms of, like Jake Hager, they've got a place in the Inner Circle and they've got their own little niche. And I think also they can be relied upon to have really good tag team matches when they need to as well. And Ortiz is very funny and Santana is very cool. So yeah, I've got no issues with them being in lovely, 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 lovely tier.
I would agree with that. Next up, War Geordie Pac, of course, started the year feuding with Kenny Omega, going after Michael Nakazawa. A 30-minute Iron Man match on Dynamite. Pac lost, of course, after it went to sudden death overtime.
Yes.
That's the way it went. Orange Cassidy feud heading into Revolution. That was so good, as we mentioned, because Orange Cassidy wrestled a Pac match rather than Pac looking like a silly bastard going after Orange Cassidy in that sort of match. Death Triangle was then born, and then War Geordie Pac, thanks to the COVID, had 7 months off. He then goes back and goes after Eddie Kingston, Buddy Laird and all that malarkey. Gets the Lucha Bros back. Death Triangle is still a thing. Then I think they're wrestling on the next Dynamite in a couple of days' time, aren't they?
Yes, I think so.
Yes,
yeah.
So that's where we are currently. So unless something monumental happens, an alright year for Pac.
Oh, I was going to say a lovely, lovely, lovely one. I was going to say he would have been competing for best tier if it wasn't for the long layoff that he had.
Well, I'll go with that. I was going to just say just because of the 7 months off had that ruined
was
things.
Was it that long? Oh, that's quite. Excuse me, that's quite a long time. But I think he's had some really good matches as well, though.
He has as well. And he's from Newcastle as well.
And he's from Newcastle, yeah.
Penta. We started the year with Hangman and Kenny defeating Penta and Rey Fenix with the tag titles on the line. That would have been a good match. It doesn't stand out in my mind, but I'm assuming it would have been fantastic. I can't remember.
It was. I think it was on the same episode as the Cody and Wardlow cage match, which overshadowed it slightly.
That's might be why I can't remember it. Death Triangle then forming, of course, so those three lads defeated Joey Janela and Private Party in their first match together. Then, of course, we have the stuff with FTR. They defeat a lot of big losses for Pentagon this year. They defeat the Lucha Bros in tag team action. Then, of course, we had the stuff with Eddie Kingston, with Penta being Eddie Kingston's best friend. Penta would replace Phoenix in the tournament, the world title tournament, after Phoenix got injured. A couple of showcase matches with his brother where they just did some good things and nearly killed each other, doing some death-defying things. You would think the brothers didn't like each other, the stuff they were doing to each other in those matches. Eddie tried to tear them apart, tried to get into Penta's head, call him his best friend, tried to kick Rey Fenix to the curb. Didn't happen, of course. Pac comes back and the Death Triangle is back on track. Turning out for AAA, of course, as well. On top of that, I haven't seen... Well, did they? Well, on the most recent one, they did it earlier on.
They were on Triple Mania. They retained the tag belts, which was surprising to everyone because everyone thought this is a good time to drop them.
Is that the same reign where they won them from? Did they win them from Young Bucks?
I feel like they did, and it might be the same reign. Yeah.
In that AEW ladder match thing a while ago.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's one of the top two. It's lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, for Penta.
I think so. Yeah. Lovely.
Not got the wins, but the performances have still been there. I think it's fair to say.
And he's been kind of everywhere for them. He's been very helpful. Like how Asuka's been doing everything in WWE since they've had to restrict everything. I think Penta and Phoenix have done a lot for AEW as well.
Pretty Peter Avalon, who's much of his year has been taken up by the race to the bottom against Brandon Cutler. We've been through that with the Initiative, then they split up, then they feud again, a count out, a double DQ, then Peter won to become the second worst wrestler in kayfabe in AEW. Then he became Pretty Peter coming out of that. Pretty Peter. He became Pretty Peter. Picked pineapples. Pecker. And he's just been living his best life, I've got written down here, on his chaise lounge. Or is it just a big pillow on the floor, eating grapes in the crowd?
What do you think? Where do you think we should put him? Do you feel harsh putting him in bin?
Yeah, because Brandon Cutler's unbearable.
Is Brandon Cutler unbearable? Oh, well, then Peter's got to be unbearable as well, then. Yeah.
I don't know what else you say there. He did. Yeah.
I find him entertaining, though. To be fair.
Yeah, I do like the Pretty Peter shtick when he's pulling all these garish faces, and he's clearly not pretty. He's not pretty at all, but he is pretty at the same time.
I bet if he tried, if he was actually trying to look nice, he could do all right.
Probably. Then we have a name which I didn't realise was a pun, but is actually a pun.
Oh.
We have Preston Vance. His actual name in AEW was Pres, then a number 10.
Oh.
So obviously it used to be Preston, but now it's Press 10.
Can you tell me what he's done this year, please? Because I'm struggling.
He teamed with Sean Spears on the New Year's Day episode. I presume it was taped on Dark.
10, right.
Because he's in the Dark Order as number 10.
Oh, right. Oh, that's... Oh, him.
Yeah, him.
Oh, right. 10. Oh, right.
He used to be called Preston Vance. And then
now he's pressed 10.
Now he's pressed 10 Vance. And
I thought he was some kind of like guy on Dark, like Lee Johnson or something.
No, this is just the official roster. And I'm telling you, it's massive when you think about it. The official roster.
I know 10.
He lost to Moxley on Dynamite. He lost to Orange Cassidy. He then the tag team match with the Gun Club. Something or other happened there. Joined the Dark Order. He lost to Dustin to a running bulldog, which is a devastating finishing move when done by Dustin Rhodes, of course. Predominantly, he's done his stuff on Dark, but he is the number 10 in the Dark Order. He has a lovely body, a mask, a mask that I'm sure must cover up a lovely head. I don't know what he looks like. Do you know what he looks like?
No, I don't know what he looks like. I'll Google him now.
But where do you think we go for Press 10 Vance? I reckon
where's
Bearable.
Where's Alan Angels?
So in Bearable we have Alan Angels, we have Reynolds, we have who else is in the Dark Order? Anna Jay's in All Right, John Silver's in Lovely. Brodie Lee's in Lovely. Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, they are in just about Bearable.
Yeah, I think we can put Vance in just about Bearable.
He's not really done too much, has he?
Who does he look like? He just looks like a heel, really. You know who he's got a bit of shades of in the face, facially? He's like the love child, right, of Ryan Gosling, that's quite a nice thing to say. That's quite.
Why is he wearing a mask if that's the case?
But he's like the love child of Ryan Gosling and Rob Terry from the British Invasion.
Turn your computer around, show the camera.
Right, okay. Wait, I'll get a...
Shall we do this and ruin the kayfabe for everybody?
I need to zoom in on it. Actually, that's a very good picture of him. He looks great there. Yeah. Well, how do I get a zoom? I'll just hold it up to the camera. Is that gonna...
Wow! He looks like Chris Masters from a long way away.
Yeah, maybe that's a... Is that an accurate representation of what he looks like? Preston Vance.
I don't know if we've just done the wrong thing there, because I remember putting a picture in the year 2020, by the way, of Kane, but Kane from like 1997. So it was Kane in his original attire, but it was Kane unmasked. I think it was from the Undertaker documentary or something like that. And people told me to delete it, even though it was from 23 years ago.
What? Kane?
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah. That's very strange.
So, Press 10 Vance with his punny name is in just about Bearable. And now we move on to Billy Gunn, who, I don't know if you've seen Austin's tweets over the last little while, but he's in some sort of bodybuilding competition. And if Vince McMahon saw Billy Gunn here in the year 2020, wow! The meat on Billy Gunn. He's in incredible shape. In terms of what he's done in AEW, he was in the AEW, the All Out Casino Battle Royal. MJF defeated Billy, not Billy Gunn, just Billy, on an episode of Dynamite. He was in the #1 Contenders Battle Royal on Dynamite once again. Jungle Boy won that one, I think. Did he win that one? I think he won that one.
Yes, I think so.
But in Gun Club action, he's won 13 of 14 tag team matches, and 12 of 13 of those have happened on Dark.
Do we just put Billy where Austin Gunn is?
Where did Austin go?
Bearable, I think.
Austin Gunn, running through the forest.
I think
there he is, in Just About Bearable. He's in Just About Bearable.
Yeah,
we'll put him next to
Billy
his son.
can go with
Even though Billy I reckon he should be a stage higher, just because he's defying the odds at the age of 74.
Yeah, but he's not. He's no Dustin. He's not.
Nah.
Well, I mean, physically, yes, absolutely, but in terms of wrestling matches, Dustin's a step above, I think.
Bearable it is for Billy Gunn, and now we're moving on to QT Marshall.
That should be his name. Bearable Billy Gunn.
QT Marshall, and
what's your issue with QT?
I just think he's a bit. It doesn't really add anything for me. It was funny when he was doing the Sasuke specials and that, and like you're thinking, oh, he shouldn't be able to do that, but he's doing it, and it's very impressive. But when I see the Nightmare Family now, what are they called? Is that the tag team name?
The Nightmare Family. Oh, they're the Natural Nightmares.
Natural Nightmares, that's the one.
And then the Nightmare Family is like the wider group.
All 100 of them. It's I don't. When I see QT Marshall, I don't feel anything inside. Do you?
Yeah, you know.
You don't either. You don't either. we had that sewn up there.
Apparently, he's very important backstage.
He does the training at the Nightmare Factory, where he was training Hook until Hook went and got trained by his dad or something.
And if you listen to Cody's second appearance on the podcast with Tony Schiavone and Aubrey Edwards, apparently whenever Cody said he always wanted to be the guy backstage who, if people said, "What, help me with this, what do I do?" Cody knew the answers, and he's since realised that person is actually QT. He runs the show backstage.
Fair play, apparently. But we're here to judge what they've done in the wrestling ring. He's been predominantly on Dark so far in 2020. Squash match losses to Brodie Lee and to Lance Archer. AEW tag team title match, the tag team tandem of Paige and Omega defeat the Natural Nightmares. All Out. He did some things with the Natural Nightmares and Matt Cardona. Remember him? And Scorpio Sky defeating Colt Cabana and some other members of the Dark Order. Then we have the stuff with Ali. And Ali maxing out his credit cards and that leading to the bunkhouse match. The bunkhouse match was good. I can appreciate that match.
That match was good, yeah.
But QT Marshall, do we go all right? Because that's where Dustin is?
No, I think he's got to be one below just for that Ali storyline.
Yeah, that was a load of crap, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Leva Bates has had 4 matches here in the year 2020. I think she must do social media stuff during Dynamite, because she's always sat there with the laptop, isn't she, at ringside?
Yeah.
Doing gifs like I used to do for WCPW back in the day. She's had 4 matches this year, including the defeat to Big Swole, on Dynamite. She teamed with Rash Chanel.
Okay.
You recognise that name?
Not especially.
In the tag team tournament that happened. And then she got a couple of wins on Dark. And then she got stuck, of course, in the middle of the Peter Avalon and Branda Cutler feud. As she was sort of the de facto manager of the I've forgotten the name completely. My mind's gone here. The initiative. That was the one.
Oh yeah.
Help me out here, Jack, for goodness sake.
I don't know what was going on. Is this Brandon Cutler and Pierre Avalon?
Yeah, the initiative.
Yeah, right. Sorry, yes, yeah.
So Leva Bates.
It's a harsh bin. Can she be top of bin?
She could be the top of. Should be the bottom of the bin. No, the
top. Whoa! Yeah, the top of bin.
Yeah, the top of bin. So she's
no bottom of bin.
By being at the top of the bin, that means she's the least bin worthy. That was my thinking.
Yeah, she's almost out the bin.
Almost out. She seems like a nice lady.
Yeah, absolutely. And she can do entertaining stuff, but they've just not give her a chance.
4
to.
matches this year, of course. Not much to go off. Rey Fenix, the culty winner for Wrestler of the Year in 2019, has had a good 2020.
I think with Phoenix, we just need to put him where Pentagon is.
Yeah,
surely.
Yeah, I mean that's it, isn't it? If Pax in love. How nice is that? Death Triangle, all in a row, in lovely. They're death.
Excellent.
They're more like the way that the pictures are square and they're in a sort of line there. They're more like Death Oblong.
That sounds far less. Somehow that sounds far less intimidating than Death Triangle, and I don't know why. It should be. It's got one more side, but
yeah, I mean
Death Oblong.
We've just about covered everything Ray did when we talked about Penta in terms of the tag team matches they've had, the showcase matches they had against each other, the angle with Eddie Kingston. They're just good, aren't they?
Yeah. I can't think of anything else to say about Phoenix. Really good.
Tully Blanchard.
Ooh.
Interesting, yeah, because at the start of the year, you may recall that Shawn Spears was looking for a tag team partner, and Tully Blanchard was at the forefront of that with a social media fan send your videos in kind of thing. I think Simon Miller got pretty close, didn't he? Or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have picked Simon.
I'd have picked Simon as well. He's got lovely big muscles and he's a very nice man to boot. The angle was dropped, however, because of the COVID pandemic and stuff, and then I think Tully went home for a while because of the COVID and because he's old and maybe he's got some underlying health issues. I'm speaking out of turn here. I'm not.
Or he's just shielding. He was shielding.
Just playing it safe, as we all did at the start of the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Being sensible. He then returned, and then we had the stuff with obviously when Tully was away, Shawn Spears did the match with Dustin, and then the boxers were there with Tully's face on Shawn Spears' tally whacker. So Blanchard returned and said, "Shawn, you're not being serious enough, pal. Here is a glove from the 1980s." And then that glove gave Shawn Spears the ability to wrestle really well all of a sudden. And then obviously it's filled with some lead when it wants to be, and it's a throwback to the 80s. And FTR, he started managing them to close the year. Well, not to close the year out, sort of as we reached the middle of the year, the height of summer, all that malarkey. That's a match made in heaven. It's just got to be done, hasn't it? With obviously Tully's past in the wrestling ring. I'm flagging here big time. It's been a very long day. Tully Blanchard, where do you want to put him?
I want to put him in all right, I think. What were you thinking?
I think that's fair. It's been understated this year, hasn't it, for Tully Blanchard?
I think so, and I think he also had a promo once where he didn't quite explain it that well when they were explaining the rules of the Open Challenge.
Yeah.
And I was like, Tully, what are you getting at here? But generally, I think he's been all right.
Ricky Starks. The revolution is televised, but it started in the NWA. He defeated Eddie Kingston in the first round, Matt Cross in the second round, and Tim Storm of all people in the semi-finals of the NWA World Television Championship tournament. And then he finally defeated Trevor Murdoch in the finals. What a win sheet that's is.
That's a murderer's row of opponents.
Especially Tim Storm.
Tim Storm.
Did Joe Hendry ever get that match against Tim Storm?
No, Joe didn't get the match against Tim. I wish he had.
It'll have to happen one day. But then Starks would go on to lose the title to Zicky Dice on the March 3rd episode of Power. Right. Open challenge for the TNT Championship is how he would debut in AEW. We would obviously impress because he's a very impressive man, both to look at and to listen to and to watch doing the wrestles. Dark. He defeated Will Hobbs, and then he started aiding Brian Cage in certain matches, helping Brian Cage to attack the likes of Robert Anthony and Darby Allin, and he created the alliance, which would turn into Team Taz. Then we feud with Darby Allin. He would dress up as Darby Allin and do all that good stuff.
That was a bit weak for me. Just that bit. It was
all right, I thought.
Yeah, it was okay.
I might have crapped on it at the time. I can't quite remember, to be honest with you. Powerhouse Hobbs and then Ricky Starks would obviously be teaming together towards the end of the year, as Darby and Cody would be on the other side of the ring, and the debut of Stang. But it's been a pretty decent breakout year for Ricky Starks, all in all.
Yeah, I'd say so. I feel like he's got a lot of promise, and I think that AEW are very interested in him alongside people like MJF and Darby as someone for the future. So I'd say lovely. He's not quite had a Darby year, but I think he's getting there, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll be there and thereabouts this time next year, surely. TNT title reign, maybe.
Possibly, yeah, I can see it happening.
Sammy Guevara.
Ooh, similar to right. Had it not been for the Matt Hardy feud, which went wrong for various reasons, not just the fall, but had it not been for the Matt Hardy feud, I'd be saying Sammy's got to be top tier. But because of the Matt Hardy feud, which did eat up quite a lot of time and was quite bad, he's getting relegated for me just down to lovely, lovely, lovely.
I'll go with that. He's always entertaining when he's on the screen. At the start of the year, he was feuding with Darby Allin, of course, but he lost the match at Revolution 2. Darby, beaten by Darby again in the first round of the TNT title tournament. Memes with golf carts happened, stadium stampede, broken rules, elite deletion, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty much his 2020 inside the wrestling ring for AEW.
Yeah. I think that's fair then. I think lovely, lovely, lovely is the fair place to put him.
Is he going to turn face and leave the inner circle thanks to MJF? I think that's the way to go, isn't it?
Yes, I'd say so. How many are left, Ross?
There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I can't even count anymore. It's been that long of a day. But 11 left.
11.
And the first of
Okay,
those,
that's all right. That's not bad. We can do
that
this.
means we've done 70 so far. There's 70 people in that table.
My
There's 70
word.
pictures in that table. A bit more than 70 people. Now we have Brandi Rhodes, who who started this year, I should say, with the Nightmare Collective. Still very much a thing, but they were disbanded rightfully in February because they were a load of crap. We had a period of time where she was Cody's manager, she was Dustin's manager, she was inoffensive, she was good, she was doing some good things. Then we had the stuff with the Nightmare Sisters, with Ali, where Ali was, of course, the bunny, inexplicably, I guess, but I guess this was her debut. No, because she was in that Battle Royal, wasn't she, at the show we were at, wasn't she?
Ali, was she?
I think.
Or Brandi?
Ali.
Ali was, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so she turned...
Yeah, Brandi was managing Awesome Kong, she brought her out, yes.
Yeah. But then she turned into the bunny for a bit, and then all of a sudden she was part of the Nightmare Sisters with Brandi, and they lost in the finals of the Women's Tag Team Tournament. Thank God, because it was becoming a bit Charlotte Flair-ish with Brandi, I thought.
A little bit. I feel like Brandi is a hard one to judge because, like you say, there's not a lot of consistency with her. I think she's just about bearable at the minute.
I think, yeah.
But what were you saying? We can't put Brandi in the bin.
Can't put Brandi, because she is a good promo.
Yes, she is a good promo.
You can't take her away from her. I don't like...
No.
To be honest with you, I think she's that far down the totem pole in terms of wrestling. I know she's got better, but there's I mean, every single woman just about in that list is above her in terms of wrestling ability, is that?
Yeah, she's not much of a... But I think she'd probably admit that herself, hopefully. She's more of a character than a wrestler.
Her character wouldn't admit that. Because her character...
No, her character wouldn't.
Had Shaq just sat there going, hey, maybe while your arm's in the cast you could take some notes from Jade. Haha. And she was like, what? Is that a joke? As if she was stood there being Sasha Banks.
Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks, Io Shirai, who I mentioned last week. But
I took that as her being annoyed because Jade was the woman who broke her arm, and why would she want to watch her for pointers when she broke her arm? But maybe you're right. Maybe it was because Brandi thinks she's class.
Yeah, that's very much the vibe I get from Brandi. The character of Brandi when she appears on TV, at least when she's not being a bona fide babyface. Because obviously, as I've said earlier, the first 2 weeks of the Jade stuff, she was a babyface. Like, you don't speak to my man like that. Whew.
Yeah.
And then she was like, getting the sympathetic babyface arm break. And then she rocked. I know she might have been a bit rattled by what had happened, but like having a go at Tony Schiavone for just calling,
it's not Tony's fault.
For just calling her the CBO of AEW while reeling off everything Shaq does. How's that something against Tony?
Well, what's Tony meant to
do?
Yeah. Former SmackDown ring announcer. I don't know what else he's meant to say.
Went through a table at a WCPW show.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a heel thing she did on last week's Dynamite as well, Satya. Maybe that'll change. Who knows? It's very inconsistent with Brandi. She does seem to overshadow a lot when she appears on screen when maybe she doesn't need to, and it's a bit. That's where I'm saying it's a bit Charlotte Flair-ish. Because Charlotte Flair obviously was winning the NXT Women's title, and then that only benefited her when it should have benefited other people. And maybe Brandi should be using her star power to help bring up other people to... I don't know. It's just...
No, I know what you mean. Maybe.
I'm just left asking, like, why is she on the TV? Like, what we're really doing here when Brandi's on TV a lot of the time?
Yeah. I know what you mean. I think just about bearable for me, though.
Yeah, because Nightmare Collective as well. That was a thing at this year, and that is unforgivable. AEW. Scorpio Sky lost. He was. Was he? No, he didn't lose the tag team titles, did he?
No, he did. I think it was him and Kazarian.
Him and Kazarian, was it? Yes, it was.
I think it was that.
Yeah.
I think it was that combination. Yeah,
because it was the big story where that was the best work of Jim Ross's AEW career, was that tag team tournament, commentating on Scorpio Sky, getting to the finals, losing his boot and all that stuff. So he lost the tag team titles. Singles just about ever since, with a brand new banging theme. He was in the Casino Battle Royal, predominantly on Dark though for a lot of the year. He defeated Ben Carter on Dynamite though as well. That's a match.
Ben Carter.
Can't remember that happened.
It was like a classic sort of experienced guy versus the young upstart kind of match.
And then Ben Carter went back here to NXT UK.
Yes.
The feud with Sean Spears sort of started going places. I think Scorpio Sky was dressed up as Mantar, wasn't he, one week?
Yeah, that was weird. Or he was a fan dressed as Mantar. I hope he wasn't the real Mantar.
So yeah, that's pretty much Scorpio Sky's year. You'd think more to come next year. I'd hope.
You'd
hope so.
Yeah. I feel like he's all right for me.
Yeah.
Scorpio Sky. Yeah.
I think we'd feel a bit wrong if we put him in just about bearable, because again, I don't think it's much down to his fault. He's good every single time he appears on the TV, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Sean Spears, on the other hand, though, this is weird. It's a weird one, because the way the year began, looking for a tag team partner, a storyline. Fair enough. It was fair enough. It was things that were happening. Then we had the match with Dustin, as we said, with the boxer shorts, and that was a bit like, you left WWE to do that, did you? That's a bit weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
The first round loss in the TNT title tournament to Cody, obviously harking back to a feud, one of the bigger feuds, I guess, of 2019. And then the glove debuted, and that's where we sort of find ourselves now. Will Sean Spears be in this much rumoured Four Horsemen of AEW?
I don't even know if that's a thing.
It's gonna be, isn't it?
Do you think it's a thing? Who's in it?
FTR's just released merchandise with horses on, and I don't know if it's just because Tully's there, but there's 3 horses there, and the hand signals that, isn't it, with the 3 instead of the 4. There's all these hints.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll never be a thing. Maybe it'll just be a thing. We're working you smarks because you think we know.
I thought the 3 were them and Tully. I didn't think Spears was.
That is the 3. Yeah, Spears is involved in that 3.
But the fact that there's horses on it is a tease, right? Okay, maybe it would be them. Surely it's got to be. I hope they wouldn't, but it's got to be Hangman. He is a horseman.
He is a
horse.
He
literally is.
Yeah.
Well, he is a horse. Yeah.
But Sean Spears' 2020 has been weird.
It's been maybe just about.
I know maybe they were building towards a big debut for a new tag team partner before COVID got in the way, and maybe that's been put on the back burners for a while. But bearable?
Yeah, I'd say just about bearable. He did chop Chris Van Vliet a lot of times.
Yes, he did. Him and Tyler Breeze. What a pair of bastards.
Well, not just him. All of their school as well. Yeah.
Sonny Kiss formed a tag team with Joey Janela this year. The vignettes in the cars, they were all good stuff. Challenged Cody for the TNT title. Was involved.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was a good match. Involved in the Casino Battle Royal squash match loss to Kenny Omega in the AEW title eliminator tournament, and then Sonny's had lots of singles matches on Dark. That's pretty much been Sonny's year.
I have 2 questions. Where's Janela, and does Sonny's match with Cody elevate him a tier above Janela, or is it not enough?
Joey Janela is not unbearable. Joey Janela is in. Where the hell is Joey Janela?
I thought we put him in bearable.
Did we put him in there? He's in bearable. I do beg me pardon. Sonny Kiss has done more than Joey Janela this year, hasn't?
Yes.
So,
but
should we go all right?
Enough though. Enough to push Sonny Kiss to all right.
It's all right or bearable. That's the conversation we're having, isn't it?
Can he be top of bearable?
Top of bearable. Pushing Riho off the top spot and just about bearable. What a maneuver! And then we have Sting, who does have a win-loss graphic thing next to his name on the AEW official roster, which is terrifying. Could a match with Cody Rhodes be about to happen? The debut was fantastic, but I don't know how high we can put Sting.
No, I don't know how high we can put Sting either. But we can't put him in bin, because as you say, the debut was fantastic.
We can't put him in bearable, because the debut was fantastic.
Oh, he said he's got to go in all right.
Should we put him in all right just because he's done nothing inoffensive so far?
Nothing bad so far. Obviously, when people are watching this, he'll have squashed Cody and he'll be challenging for the belt and everything. But for now, as we record this,
that's the thing, isn't it? I don't know if you've been getting messages, but I've been getting a lot of messages in terms of like, oh, if this was in WWE, Ross, you would have been saying something different. But it's not. Yeah. It's the fact that he hasn't been winning. He's not been put in the AEW title picture so far. So unless that happens, I think we're fine in just saying they've used him all right so far. If he's there to put more stock on Darby Allin's name, good. That's what he should be there for.
Yes, I agree.
Vicky Guerrero, underwhelming. Ooh, fight for the fallen. Yeah. Fight for the fallen. Guerrero was revealed as Nyla Rose's mysterious mystery manager.
Mysterious manager.
Whoa, mysterious Vicky.
Yes.
And then basically all that's happened ever since is a couple of promos. Really basic promos by Vicky standards, by the way, where she's like, I'm here. I'm Vicky Guerrero's... I'm Nyla Rose's business manager, and I do bad things to people. Jade Cargill's arm break on Brandi, she assisted that. But other than that, we're scratching, we're clawing, looking for things to speak about in terms of Vicky Guerrero in AEW. A couple of commentary outings as well, I guess we should mention as well. But it's been very underwhelming.
Can we put Vicky in bin? Does Vicky go in bin? Have you done it? Have you put her in? I can't see your tier list.
I'm trying to think what she's done to keep her out the bin. There's not much, is there?
I don't know if she's done a lot, no.
We'll put it in the bin just in terms of you think Vicky Guerrero being the heel manager for a professional wrestler here in 2020. It should be a hell of a lot more than it is at the minute. That's the premise.
But there could be something on the horizon, because remember, she berated Nyla and then Nyla took it and walked off.
But then she appeared with Nyla to beat up Brandi.
Oh no, they scrapped that. I hope not. I hope that comes back.
That did happen. I remember what you were speaking about, the promo, and then the sort of stare down, and then the Jade assist happened after that. So
it did.
Right then, Stu Grayson. No idea what to say about Stu.
What's he done? Why is he not wrestling? Why is he not wrestling anymore? He's really good.
He's a fantastic wrestler.
Absolutely.
But it's all in tag matches, obviously, with Evil Uno predominantly. Lots of wins on AEW Dark. I think he's won his last 7 matches on AEW Dark at the time of recording. He never craps the bed. He always puts on a good wrestling match, but
yeah.
I don't know what else you say, really. All right. Lovely.
Where's Uno?
Uno's in Bearable.
I think Stu's got to go in Bearable. He's done less than Uno for me.
Should I put him in Bearable next to Uno?
Yeah, which sounds really harsh, but those lads can have a better 2021. Yeah. I'm sure of it.
I hope they do as well, because the Dark Order, they've been getting over. Look at me using insider phrases. Getting popular. I don't like using the insider phrases on video. I don't like getting over. Getting popular organically on AEW. On BTE.
Yes.
Haven't they? So hopefully that bleeds over more onto the televised stuff. Right then, into the final 1, 2, 3, 4 we go. Butcher and the Blade.
Lovely.
Whoa! I wasn't expecting that from you.
No, I like the Butcher and the Blade.
I like the Butcher and the Blade very much, especially the Butcher.
Yeah, the Butcher's fantastic. I think the Blade's good as well. I didn't like the storyline with Ali and QT Marshall, but it did, as you mentioned, lead to the Bunkhouse Brawl, which was good. And I find them entertaining, whatever they do, really. They're really good, solid heel tag team wrestlers, and I like their alliance with Eddie Kingston as well.
I like that different style as well, because both of them, especially Butcher, and I don't know if this is because I saw it was his 40-something birthday the other day, the Butcher.
Oh, all right.
He's been in that band since 1998, their band.
The band, the Sam music, yeah.
The Sam music?
It's like music that Sam would like, yeah.
Every Time I Die? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's just like the late 90s, which shows how old he is. I didn't think he was that old, but they're definitely a throwback style, which is very much welcome in this AEW tag team division, because there's a lot of tag teams who do wrestle the same style. And here's a match that happened this year, Jack. MJF, the Butcher, and the Blade defeated Diamond Dallas Page, Dustin Rhodes, and QT Marshall.
That was this year.
Year, apparently.
It's crazy.
But yeah, great theme, great wardrobe, love their clothes. The match against the Bucks, as we spoke about there, Eddie Kingston, the Bunkhouse. Is lovely a bit too high?
No, I think we'll put them there.
It's in Christmas, isn't it? It's in Christmas.
Yeah, go on.
It's Christmas time.
Christmas.
We're feeling generous, but I don't think we can put Ali in lovely. Because apparently I got told, because I was making a big hoo-ha on my WTF moments when whatever Dynamite it was when she came back as the bunny. She turned into normal Ali without much of a storyline thing. She then turned back into the bunny after not much of a storyline thing.
Yeah.
Why did she turn back into bunny?
Because she was back with the butcher and the blade. I don't know. Because, what do you mean? What or why?
Yeah, why did that happen?
They didn't explain it very well. It was all a ruse from Kingston to prove that the Nightmare family could be easily infiltrated. I don't know.
That's a nice gap you filled in there.
It wasn't my suggestion. I think someone on Twitter said that. I read it.
I beg your pardon.
But
Ali.
But I did. I liked it. Ali,
why is she not wrestling more?
I don't know actually. I don't know because remember at the start when they were announcing the big signings to the women's division, and it seemed like Ali was going to be what Britt Baker became, essentially, like one of the faces of it.
Because she was a mainstay for the Impact women's division for ages, wasn't she?
She was.
Her and Chelsea.
She had a wedding. She had a Laurel Van Ness.
Yeah, her and Chelsea Green and people like that. Yeah, the wedding angle with the blade.
Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. No sign of the butcher, who would have been fantastic in a wedding scenario. Yeah. I think she goes in bearable for now.
Yeah, not quite bin-worthy. Although we do need some gaps filled in when it comes to Ali in terms of the storytelling and why she does the things she does and stuff like that. But that's not her fault. That's the power of the beast fault. Wardlow.
Ooh.
Obviously, the steel cage match with Cody is the main headline for him this year. I guess the other main headline is them sort of teasing him getting fed up with MJF's bull poo. It looked like they were going to break up for a while there, but that seems to have gone away over the last few weeks. Other big things, he got to the semi-finals of the World Title Eliminator Tournament before Hangman Page beat his ass. We had the big lumberjack match against Luchasaurus. He's had lots of wins on AEW Dark, and that's just about it. The interactions with Jake Hager. Hopefully they have sex for Christmas or something like that.
Rife with tension, yeah.
Where do you want to go with? All right?
I was going to say just edges into Lovely Lovely.
Oh, I'll go with that. Why the hell not?
Because I think he's had enough standout performances now. And I'm enjoying the very slow burn Batista Triple H thing with him and MJF as well.
And I do like the F10 as a finisher.
Yeah.
Tear that Brock. And then finally, last but not least, we have Powerhouse Hobbs, the 81st entrant into this mammoth, whopping tier thing. See how weird that is? There's 81 things we've put in that tier thing, and each of them are just about like prominently featured on Dynamite.
It's crazy,
yeah. Powerhouse Hobbs. He appeared for West Coast Pro Wrestling at the start of the year. Lots of matches on AEW Dark. He was losing matches to the likes of Scorpio Sky, to Ricky Starks, to Orange Cassidy, to Sean Spears. He lost to Darby Allin on Dynamite. He was in the Casino Battle Royal. His reaction to Matt Seidel's botch was massively praised.
Yes.
On the interweb, because everyone knows everything on the interweb. He was then signed to AEW, a proper contract, in September. He was then helping Jon Moxley in Jon Moxley's battles against Brian Cage and Team Taz and people like that.
Yeah.
Eventually, however, he would turn into a bastard by aligning with Team Taz, turning on Cody, and then he ran away from a 60, is he 61 or 62? 60 whatever year old man with a bat. Winter is coming, of course, when Sting debuted. So obviously more to come from Powerhouse Hobbs in the year 2021. But as of 2020, I liked him as a babyface. I don't like him as a heel. He's doing his job. He's big. He's scary. He's got a lovely singlet. Hasn't wrestled all too much, but what he's done, he's all right, isn't he?
Had this been before the heel turn, I would have said maybe just about bearable, because his gimmick seemed to be running in with a chair too late to help anybody.
That was on purpose, though, wasn't it?
But it was on purpose because he didn't want to batter his mate who he was about to join. Now that he's turned heel and he's very effective and put on maybe the best bear hug I've ever seen on Darby Allin.
Yeah, ragdolled him like a Christmas present, according to Jim Ross. You ever done that with a Christmas present?
No, I've not. But great work by both of them in that move. I'm gonna say he's all right, probably with all right with the potential to go even further.
Of course, there's potential. I put him in all right about a minute and a half ago. That's how long he's been in the all right category.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So there we have it. We've come to the end. How long have we been going there? I don't think it was quite as long as the NXT video, but there we go. Let's find out though, Jack, before we bugger off and enjoy Christmas. Who is the best of the best? Who has had the best 2020 in all of AEW? Has Chris Jericho had a better 2020 than Hangman Page?
Oh, it's very close, but I'd say that Hangman has had the better 2020.
Has Cody Rhodes had a better 2020 than Hangman Page?
Oh my god. This is very tricky. No, I think Hangman's been more consistent.
Has Darby Allin had a better 2020 than Hangman Page?
No, he's been in and out of it a little bit more.
Has Eddie Kingston had a better 2020 than Hangman Page?
No, he came in halfway through.
Has Jon Moxley had a better 2020 than Hangman Page?
Oh, that's really tricky. No, I think Hangman's actually had a better one.
Has Kenny Omega had a better 2020 than Hangman Page?
Yeah, he's beaten him, and he's won the belt and stuff. So yeah, Kenny Omega has had a better 2020 because he's directly beaten Hangman Page. However, Hangman's going to be the man to do it, Ross. Hangman's going to beat him in the future.
I'd agree with that, especially over the past.
And he's going to.
You got to think about the Impact stuff as well there. While Hangman's sort of been floundering and flirting with the Dark Order, I reckon that's a justifiable pick there. MJF.
And I think as well, I was just about to say, and I think Kenny's really been hyping up how nobody kicks out the one-winged angel. It's got to be Hangman who kicks out of that first shoe.
Apparently Kota Ibushi did a few years ago in DDT or something like that.
Oh, well, Ibushi's allowed to. They're pals, I suppose.
Yeah, I got told off for making that a WTF moment, even though the record books they show it did happen, and Okada only got his foot on the rope. So that's not a kick out, that's just a foot on the rope.
That's not a kick out. Yeah.
Has MJF had a better 2020 than Kenny Omega?
No, but it's actually very close.
Have the Young Bucks had a better 2020 than Kenny Omega?
No, but it's actually very close.
Has Orange Cassidy had a better 2020 than Kenny Omega?
No, but it's quite close.
So there we have it. Back-to-back tier videos done for me today, although that makes no sense because they've been edited on separate days and published on separate days as well. So why I've said that, I've got no idea, but Kenny Omega has had the best 2020 in all of the 81 things on the AEW roster. Tag teams, managers, all the above. Commentators can go away for this tier ranking. Jack, any closing thoughts before we bugger off?
Just echoing what you said there about how it's amazing they've got so many elements, but they make them all feel relatively special and have a little spotlight of their own.
It's like the Sir Alex Ferguson rotation policy.
Yes, it very much is.
Keeps them all fresh and all special at the same time.
And also, hope everyone's enjoying our festive content and stay tuned for everything that's coming up.
So there we have it. Go on, just go on. My son, no, what I'm saying here. Go on and compare each finished tier ranking thing and find out which roster has had the best 2020. Off memory, I think it might be NXT, but then again, this is very subjective, and that might just be Tom Campbell putting the pressure on me and putting
very positive
man, isn't he?
Yeah.
So there we have it. That's the end of this video. Jack, Gary, thank you very much. I've forgotten my
Thanks
name.
very
I've forgotten
much.
where I am. I've forgotten what I do. Just thank you for watching all that we've done in the year 2020. This might be going live in 2021. I should have checked the schedule before I came and sat in this very chair. Whenever it goes out, I hope you enjoyed it. I've been Gary YouTube. Follow me at Ross on Wrestling. Follow him at No, that's not that anymore, is it? Follow him at Jack the
Jobber. Yeah.
Oh dear. We'll see you next time on this tier ranking thing.
Bye-bye.
Bye.